cover Inspire the World and Creates. And I think probably once I've spoken about the hashtag, which is the last thing I'm going to say, I'll turn to you for some opening words and then go to. Okay.
Thank you.
All
right, we're live on YouTube.
All right.
Excellent. I'm going to just
yes, and we're live on Facebook as well. Fantastic.
Are we up there, Brian?
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. Are you recording this?
Yeah. Sorry, I am recording this. I'm just trying to get there.
So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty.
All right, my friend said it's not working.
It's coming. It's coming on the event page.
It's live on YouTube.
Okay, that's good. Can you see how many viewers we've got, Brogan, already or not?
20.
I have 6 on YouTube.
That's us, by the way.
6, 7, 6.
21.
Oh, this is making me very nervous.
Oh yeah, wow. So there's one on Manchester. So that's the thing. We just see the which one are you on, Brian? So there's one on Manchester. So that's the thing.
Oh, I'm on mute.
You have to turn your sound off on your any devices you've got where you're looking on your Pechakucha Global. Let me go Pechakucha Global. Must be riveting stream.
Watching us just kind of figure things
out. Pechakucha Global.
So I guess speakers, just it's normal webinar etiquette. When we get started, it will be in speaker mode for the people that are watching us. So if you could mute and turn off your video, we'll have the power to do that as well, but it would help if you guys could help us out with that. And yeah, I guess, should we, Kyle, we kind of wanted to go through and ask people where they're from. So should we start with the panelists that we have now, and then maybe we can open it up to the attendees as they join?
Yeah, go for it. Okay, so it's going to do a round table. So we realized when we've got people buying tickets that we've got loads of people from all over the world watching us tonight. So I thought if we start going clockwise based on who's on my screen at the moment, just tell us a bit about where you're from, and we'll just do that, and then we'll kind of almost like a conga line through the comments. We'll try and do that now. So Brogan, you're first on my list.
Hi everyone, I'm from Calgary in Canada. I've been living in London for 4 years, and I have been running Pechakucha here since I moved here. So pretty exciting to be running our first online one.
Yeah, now it's me. So I'm Kyle, I'm from Pechakucha in Manchester, and yeah, I've been doing it since 2016. It's been fantastic to sort of support the creator communities in the north. Okay, Mike, you're next.
Hi, Mike. I'm calling in from the old jail in Abingdon. So there's lots of solid walls around, and I'm a Pechakucha virgin. This is my first night, and I'm working on some voluntary work, trying to find stuff for the great heroes of the NHS. So NHS Hero Support and the Shield Group. So that's, I think, what I will be discussing later. So welcome and hi to everybody.
Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm from Leeds. I know Kyle quite well. I've presented at Pechakucha Manchester and staged a workshop there for another one. Yeah, I run Found Fiction, which is like a literary network of writers and readers and artists. And we usually do in-person events and publishing. And we've kind of staged quite a few digital events and virtual workshops and things in the current time with people not being around each other. So that's what we'll be talking about in our talk.
Yes, thanks for that. Melon.
Hello? Melon or Ellen?
Melon, you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melon. I am currently in Cardiff. I've been living here for about coming up to 7 years. I'm originally from Nigeria and Turkey. I'm a blend. And I'm also a bit of a multi-hyphenate. So I'm a designer and I run a digital agency, and I'm the host of Creative Mornings Cardiff, which is a global event. And we are the Cardiff chapter, and I've been doing that for about 6 years as well. So that's what I'll be talking about a little bit.
Very cool.
Lynn.
Hi, I'm Lynn and I'm from Dundee in Scotland, and I do a couple of things pretty much like yourself, Melon. Like I run an accelerator program for creative people to help them with their businesses. But I also, by night, I suppose, I'm a folk singer specialising in slightly risque Scottish folk music, which is what I'm going to be performing for you this evening, I suppose. Yeah.
Thanks.
Very cool.
Looking forward to that. Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Dytham. I'm an architect over in Tokyo, which I run an architectural company called Klein Dytham with Astrid Klein, who I founded Pechakucha with in 2003. And since then, it's grown from a one-off event to over 1,200. Kyle, you're on mute. Yeah.
No, I'm mute.
Sorry.
If you're not speaking,
my sound.
yeah. Just mute yourself if you've already spoken, please. So looking at Steve and Mike.
Okay. Is my sound okay?
Yeah, it was. I think someone broke into it just with the feedback from an unmuted.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm Astrid and I founded Pechakucha in 2003 as a one-off event, and yeah, people liked the format, and we had another event. We'll be holding our 170th event in Tokyo next later this month, probably online again. So anyway, it's great. It's great to meet you all, and thank you for running Pechakucha in Manchester and in London so smoothly, and thank you for putting this on. It's very timely. I think there were lots of ideas to go, and it's great that we're going to do this first event. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you for giving us the opportunity to to practice and be the guinea pigs for this. Great, Ellen.
Hi, I'm Ellen. So I'm from London originally, but now up in Manchester. I'm a freelance copywriter, and I sort of do my own thing with that. And then I also have started a blog called Blag, which is about blagging it. So it's basically like for creative people to share career confessions and get real about hot topics, and yeah, basically a bit of a dirty secret place. And I will be lowering the tone by talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer this evening. That's really all there is to me.
And I am deeply looking forward to that as well. Okay, thank you. Right. Joe.
Hi everyone, my name is Josephine. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm from Hong Kong and now I live in London. I'm a social entrepreneur, which means I'm out of a job right now. And what I do right now is that we redistribute care packages to vulnerable people. So I'm going to be talking about that because I spend every living minute doing it right now. Oh well.
No, it's a fantastic initiative. You definitely need to check it out. And I think hopefully if you and Mike haven't spoken yet, I think you definitely need to around that. We're missing someone at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm just about to email her. She, I think, was in a meeting until shortly. So Asma and Andy and Tash.
Right, so we're going to try and continue this in the chat. So I can see we've got 10 attendees on the Zoom chat, and I know we've, because we've had so many people, we've actually broadened out to YouTube and Facebook. So in your respective comment sections, if you can just post where you're from, maybe even a bit about yourself, let's kind of keep that conversation going, because it'd be lovely to see where you're all from. Okay. Just in terms of timings, we're going to kick off at 7 o'clock. So we've got just over 15 minutes before we set off. So, you know, feel free to have a comfort break before we start, grab a drink. Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying, I can see quite a few people around the world. Morgan Robinson's watching over in Stillwater in the US. He's our organizer there. And Sean, I see over in Chicago, is watching. And Terry from St. Joseph in Michigan is doing the call out here. I'm on the Pechakucha. What am I on? I'm on Pechakucha Global. Yeah. So that's quite interesting. And, Sean says he can see us on Facebook, but just not on YouTube. But I can see, I'm getting the YouTube feeds up quite clearly.
Yeah, I am as well. I'm going to look into that.
Hi, Morgan. Thanks for the comment. And Jude has just joined from Perth in Scotland, which is pretty cool. And Eddie in Orlando. That's pretty cool. And
We have
Francisco.
sorry, we have
Go guys.
Yasser from Saudi Arabia on YouTube, Renuka from Ottawa, Canada, a couple more Manchester Mancurians, is that how you say it?
Great. My friend Alex says she likes the fact that Ellen's drinking wine.
Hey, we have to give a big shout out to Thomas in Arlen in Germany. Yeah, he's one of our amazing organizers from a fairly small town in southern Germany. And when they have Pechakucha night, the whole town comes out. Yeah, it's really, really amazing. So, and Amanda from British Columbia's organizer in Victoria has just arrived from British Columbia. So hi to you.
Hello. I think we were chatting on Facebook, so that's good.
We have some more from YouTube. So we have 2 from Barcelona, Chicago, Matt from Chicago, Netherlands, working in Manchester. And Victoria says she loves am I saying it right, Kyle? Manchurian?
Mancunian.
Mancunian. Oh, and Tom from Chicago says that he can now see YouTube.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, I've got all my devices up and running right now. Yeah, so it's quite but it works really well. It's amazing. And well done, Brian, for getting this all out on all the different platforms. We're up till what time? I think we finished at 4 o'clock last night. Getting it out up and running, broadcasting out to the different streams. So well done, everybody.
Thank you. All right. If I'm right, I can see Liam Dargan, and if it's the right Liam Dargan, it's the Liam Dargan who spoke at one of our events in the past. As I can see Simon Bray. I think if it is a Simon Bray, it's a photographer. And Brian, if it is the right Simon Bray, you should definitely check out Simon Bray's work.
We've got some more from Spain and from Sweden. We've got an Australian living in London. People from all over. Who do we have here? We haven't talked about our chat in here. We have Shania from London, a couple other Dundonians. I'm definitely missing that. Northern Ireland, our friend Dan, Sam from Dundee, Christina from London. Oh, she works at the British Museum. And she was there last week or last month. What, 2 months ago? Who knows? Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
Hey, there are a couple more people who've joined since then or weren't introduced. So I'm going to say, first of all, Brian, who we've mentioned, to let him introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm Brian. I'm working here in Tokyo with Mark. It's 3 in the morning. We're very happy to be here. I look after our organization from a global perspective, and I also look after our event here in Tokyo, along with a few other team members and our volunteer team. And so, as Mark mentioned, we're going to be hosting another version of a global event with all of you again, hopefully next Thursday on the 15th, 16th. And that's quickly expanding into perhaps an all-day event or multiple sessions throughout the day. We're still sort of sorting out those details. And then the following week, we'll have our Tokyo event. And I think I've been talking to organizers from around the Pechakucha community for the last couple of days, and I think we may be, lighting a fire here of creativity and inspiration around the world. So this is really exciting, and I'm really happy to be here. And as we've said, this is all sort of a mouse trapped and shoestring together, and we're hoping it all works. And if we get kicked off, I'll be happy to take some of the blame for it, and we'll get it all fired back up as soon as possible. So thank you for your patience, and let's have fun.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing. Super amazing. And I've just started a watch party on my Facebook page, I think, and people are coming in from that as well. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Okay. Okay, and someone, one of the other speakers has joined. Asma.
Hi there. Hello. I got confused about timing. I just was told to join at 7, but then I thought it was also 6, and now it's now. Can I just ask a technical question, please? Because I wasn't able to do the dress rehearsal. So am I just literally I'm just saying the words to the slide, but someone else is managing the slides?
Yeah, sorry, Asma, I just wrote you back. The slides advance automatically, so no worries about that.
Okay, so you'll kind of get when I've stopped talking and then it goes on to the next.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you.
Bruce.
Okay, waiting on a couple more people. For anyone who's just joined the stream on YouTube, Facebook, and on Zoom, each of those have a respective sort of chat feature. So we're encouraging everyone to put up a message saying where they are from. And I think I could quite rightly say we've had people from all over the world so far shouting out.
No, it's really amazing. Let me go here.
Asma, who's behind you cooking?
Oh, I did the cooking.
Oh.
He's just mixing. I did the cooking.
You're just doing the
I made a really nice kedgeree with haddock, smoked haddock and kale. Actually, I thought we were going to eat together after this, but it's okay.
What time does your thing finish? Oh, really?
You know, go ahead. It's fine, Izzy.
Sorry, I thought it was going to last ages.
What's going on here?
Just a general reminder, if I should follow my own advice, if you're not speaking, please put your mic on mute.
Oh, okay.
Hey, it's Sarah from Leamington Spa. Hello.
Hi, Sarah. Sarah helped us out setting up just testing this because it's the first time for all of us, and she's going to be doing her own online event coming up soon. So we'll have to send you the information for that. We've had about 20 people join in the past 5 minutes.
I think you're on mute, Mark. I think you're on mute.
Okay, hey, I've got a few people to say hi to here. There's Yoshino-san, hi to you. Hi to Udika, how are you, sweetie? How's Sweden? Oh, I've turned turn that off, yeah. And Tim Power, how are you doing, Tim? Thanks for joining. And Rowan is looking, and Torsten. Hey, Torsten over in Chicago. He runs up Pechakucha Night, co-host Pechakucha Night in Chicago. Great to see you guys too. Fantastic, fantastic. It works. Hi, Frank. Frank over in Ireland too, yeah. Brilliant. Let me.
I've got some more Dundees. Claire from Newcastle. It's her first. Oh, Newcastle upon Time. I'm sure that's a different thing. It's her first ever Pechakucha Night.
That's
have
cool.
a place in Scotland which I will not be able to pronounce. Awesome.
I'm just trying to see how I comments. Ah, there we go. I've got the comments on. Great. Awesome. Very good, very good. No, it's very exciting. I mean, it's a really big paradigm shift for us. We were always nervous about running live events because we always thought it would cannibalize the actual live event, and people would prefer just to stay at home and not go out to the events. And there was something always missing, but I think now we're all in this point where we've got no option other than to do this. It seemed a really great chance and opportunity to test it out without upsetting anybody. And yeah, I think it's just a different type of energy. It's not the same, obviously, as a Pechakucha Night when everybody gets together. But it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. We can have all these feeds. I've got 2 screens here with Facebook feed and the YouTube feed. So it does feel like I'm connected to everybody. I've got to put my glasses on though to read. And now there's a separate conversation going on between Torsten and Sean on the chat. Yes, so there's all sorts of things going on. It's really cool. Hi, Torsten. Yeah, thanks, man. It's actually my birthday today. So this is my birthday night.
Happy birthday, Mark. You didn't say that. We could have sang.
Happy birthday.
Well. Lynn's got a guitar, probably.
Oh yeah, maybe we'll just sing along.
I've got my happy birthday. I've got my birthday mask on. It's got a cake on it. You can see that. Yeah.
Do you actually know happy birthday, Lynn? Oh, you're on mute. Hang on.
No, I don't.
Mark,
but I can look up the chords.
Mark, I would play you happy birthday on the piano behind me, but it's 4 a.m. I'm afraid I'd wake up the whole house.
Awesome. Yeah, very good. And there's Peter. Peter, wow, Peter, how are you? You're over. I guess you're back over in Germany now. Is that correct? I'm not sure where you are in the world, but thanks for joining. Wow. And Maria Muller's joined as well. Hi to you. And Morgan's back again, so that's good. It's great to see all our organisers from around the world joining. Yeah, that's really interesting. What time are we starting at? I guess in 4 minutes. Yeah?
Yeah, about 5 or 4 minutes. Actually, that's a good point. If anyone wants to go to the bar and top up, or run to do something else, we'll start in about 5 minutes. Just let everyone else kind of get logged in here. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can email us at hello@pechakuchalondon.co.uk or throw it in the chat, and we'll help you out if there's any technical difficulties.
Excellent.
Oh, and we've got Christopher from Providence, Rhode Island joined, which is pretty cool. And Billy's watching too, another big Pechakucha fan in Tokyo. I think are you back in the UK now, Millie? It's really great to see faces we normally see in the Tokyo in the Tokyo space up here online. I'm sure she's not in Japan. It's 3 a.m. here, but anyway, nice to see you, Millie. Billy even. Awesome.
Okay.
Is that slightly different? Okay, got it.
Waiting on a couple more people to join us. I've sent Tash the link, Brogan.
Yeah, I'm just emailing Andy right now. Okay, sweet. Kyle, I'm gonna pull up the slides now. Kyle, can you talk?
I can.
Okay, perfect. So it's on speaker mode. Perfect.
That is super crystal clear. That's amazing.
That's good. Thank you.
Who did your graphics? They're really lovely.
My friend Jen did.
Well done. Shout out to you. They're really nice. Morgan. Hey, Jason. Jason, over in, I guess you're in San Francisco, Jason. Great to see you. Lots of things happening. We were having a our event next week at the same time. Carl Bass has kindly agreed to join. He's been making face masks in his garage in San Francisco, or in his workshop. So great to see you, Jason. Yeah, we've got quite a few interesting speakers for next week, including our Pechakucha intern, Dana, who went back to visit her parents in Wuhan for Chinese New Year. And 76 days later, she was just being allowed to move around again yesterday. So we're going to get her on the call on Pechakucha night. And she's going to tell us all about her experiences. So that'll be pretty cool.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah, Brian, Millie's back in London. She got back the day London locked down, so she was super lucky to get out of Japan and get back into London.
I'm sorry, that's Mila?
Billy Moore.
Billy Moore, yes, of course. Oh, well.
So cool. I'm excited.
Brogan, there you go. Ignore that. Right, it's 7 o'clock. Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
We're good.
Right. Hey everyone. Thanks to everyone who's been joining from 6:30. It's been great to talk to you and hear your stories so far. Just for new people joining us, my name is Kyle Su, and welcome to Pechakucha, or as we say around these parts, Pechakucha. This is Pechakucha Night, United Kingdom. It's 7 p.m. Thursday, 9th of April 2020, and we're live across the UK and the world. Thanks so much for tuning in. The plan is over the next couple of hours to get you to experience the joy that's Pechakucha, brought to you by me as the host of Pechakucha Night Manchester, and Brogan McPherson, who's the Pechakucha Night London organizer as well. But yeah, for those who are new, what's Pechakucha? Well, the idea is that we get a group of people to present on topics that they are passionate about, but the rub is that they only have 20 slides and 20 seconds per slide and no stopping. So it creates really short, succinct, but incredibly fun and inspirational stories. This is the first time we're doing this on Zoom, YouTube and Facebook. So as ever, bear with us if there are any technical glitches, as there are with these kind of things. But your feedback after this is really welcome. Usually our events take place in cities with people and audiences, but obviously we can't do this time, so that's why we're doing it online. Ordinarily, there are over 1,200 events across the globe in places like London and Manchester, Tokyo, New York, So what I'd say is, employ, if this is the first time hearing about this, check out your local communities. And if it doesn't exist in your location, set it up. So why are we doing this? It's all to do with COVID-19. It's a virus that's forced us inside, and it's taken so much from us already. Because we can't run our physical events, we wanted to see what we could do online to get behind and support our communities, to share the stories of what it means to be a United Kingdom. So we pulled this together in just 10 days. We've had a little help from our friends in Dundee, Birmingham and Leamington Spa, and beyond, with people sharing across the world. Tonight we have people from all four corners of the UK. We've got people from Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland, from comedians to founders and social entrepreneurs. There should be some music, I hope. I'm looking at Lynn. And Dan Thompson, who's in our attendees, who's our resident artist at Pechakucha Manchester, will actually be live drawing the speakers, so check out our channel for what he does. And this is all in aid of Age UK, and we're trying to raise some money to support them. So please head to the Eventbrite page that you signed up on to donate if you can. That link is bit.ly/PKNUK01. This event is in fact part of a larger series of events called Inspire the World, which Pechakucha is running from Tokyo, which is all about responses to COVID-19. We're really fortunate to have Mark, who's the founder, who will be doing a bit of an opener in a second, tell you more about that, I'm sure. But really what I'm going to say is head to the website, this is pechakucha.org, for more information. We'll post a link into the chat for you. But this is a call to arms to you, because as a new Pechakucha creates a platform where you yourself can go on, load up your image from the comfort of your own home and tell your story. So if you are at a loose end, as some in the UK are with this isolation, tell us your stories and contribute to this tapestry of information that we're pulling together. Before we start, I want to say some thank yous to the HQ team, Pechakucha, the teams in London and Manchester who've been helping in the background, to Jennifer for creating the design and artwork that you can see on the screen, to the speakers for giving up their time, and to you for taking this time to hear us. It takes a lot of effort to do this, and we're really grateful for your support. So tonight, very soon I'll introduce you to the first speaker, Asma. Brogan is sharing her screen. She'll mute me, and then we'll hear from Asma. When they're ready, Brogan will hit start, and then they're off. 20 slides, 20 seconds per slide. We'll have 5 speakers, a comfort break, which I've hopefully timed meticulously with the Clap for the National Health Service. So for those outside the UK, 8 PM every Thursday, we stop and we get onto our balconies outside the front doors and we clap for the NHS and the key workers and people who are helping to keep us safe. So that break will be for 10-15 minutes before the second half. Hopefully, if this works as well, we've got a short video that we wanted to show you as well. And also, finally, keep in touch with the hashtag PKNUK. Any questions, please put them into the chat and we'll pick them up. So now I'm going to mute myself and turn to Mark, who's just going to say some opening words.
Hi, thank you. I'm unmuted. Yes, just want to say a huge thank you to everybody online that's joining, everybody that's speaking tonight, but also everybody that's helped pull this together so quickly. We had lots of messages from people around the world. What are we going to do? How are we going to put this together? We've also been planning our own event, but it was great to team up with Pechakucha Manchester and Pechakucha London with Kyle and Brogan. You've done a really great job pulling this off, and this is really our first event. We're putting this under a bigger banner called Pechakucha Inspire the World, and I'll talk about that a little bit in my presentation. But you know, in these difficult times, we found before with other difficulties such as the earthquake in Japan, that there's a lot of creativity and a lot of passion and a lot of ingenuity comes out, and that tends to get lost. We hear a lot about the first responders, but sometimes these projects go on. Our Inspire Japan project has been going on for 10 years and we're still getting stories out. So Pechakucha is really the last responders in a way, and we managed to catch these presentations and record them. They're stored online, and it's a great archive of the moment, and it's a great archive of how to respond. And so I'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll be having events hopefully every Thursday. We're going to have our next event next Thursday on the 16th, the 15th in America. We're really excited that we're teaming up with Design, the world's biggest online magazine, design magazine. They're having a virtual design festival. That's quite interesting too, because all these degree shows around the world for architects and designers and graphic designers can't happen, and they're looking at putting that online. So we're really happy to be teaming up with them. So that's next Thursday. So without further ado, I'd like to say thank you one more time. Thanks to everybody online. It's great to see so many friends and so many Pechakucha organisers from all of our cities around the world joining us. So thank you so much. We hope there's going to be no technical difficulties, and I'll hand you back to Brogan and Kyle. Thank you so much.
Nice, thank you. And happy birthday. Okay, so right, if you're ready, let's have our first speaker. So it's Asma Shah, who's the founding CEO of the award-winning You Make It, which is an empowerment organisation which is equipping young, unemployed and underemployed women with the confidence, skills and networks to lead happy and integrated lives in London. She's also the diversity champion on the Mayor of London's new advisory board on inequality in the capital. So who better can we have to open tonight's event? So I'm going to mute myself, turn to Asma. Fingers.
Thank you very much. I'm Asma Shah, as you can see on the screen. And this is the first Pechakucha that I've done. So forgive me if I'm not always 20 words a slide or 20 seconds a slide.
So just, yeah, let me know when you're ready and put up.
I'm ready. So this is the youngest picture that I could find of myself. I think I'm 2. I don't have any baby pictures because actually our start in life was pretty hard. My mother had run away from our father with me 6 months old and my 3 older sisters, the eldest being 6 years old. We were initially in temporary housing. I think we probably just didn't have a camera back then. We lived in a refuge in Peckham when I was 6 months old to 2 years old. And this would have been around 1973 to 1974. Next slide. Is there a next slide? Our longer term housing, lived in until I was 18, was a council estate built in Peckham, southeast London in the late 70s. That's me circled in black. A street party for Princess Diana and Charles getting married. And I find this picture a little bit painful to look at because it just reminds me of how much we tried to fit in with people on our estate that were essentially racist. Peckham in the 70s and 80s was really rough. Unemployment was high. The far right was very active, as it is now. And Paki was just a really common word that was shouted to me every time I left the house. In fact, I can remember always feeling tense when I did have to leave the house because it was just such a common experience for me. Cut to secondary school, it got no better. In fact, I spent most of my lunch times, if not all of them for the first 2 years, in the toilets just to avoid the racist abuse. And school was tougher than Peckham because it was Bermondsey, which was like a real hotbed of National Front activity. I became very subdued, very quiet. I felt it was probably safer to be invisible than to actually have a voice. I didn't want to be noticed. Further education in the early 90s was different. I went to King's Cross, Kingsway College for Further Education. And it was the first time I was in an education environment where I didn't hear the word Paki and I felt safer. That's obviously not a picture of my old FE college, but I just wanted to reflect on the fact there have been so many cuts to further education since I was there back in the early 90s. University, I went to Queen Mary in Westfield. I was one of 3 brown people in my department. So again, I was not quite the person who fit in, but also I wasn't posh. And lots of the people on my degree, even if they were one of the 2 other brown people who were there, had been privately educated. So again, I was pretty quiet. Moving on from there, I went to work in cultural creative organisations where I was continually made to feel like an outsider, appraised really well, but overlooked for promotions, often was paid, including Channel 4, less than my white peers. So I basically had this career and experience of early living where I never felt that I was as good as anyone else. finally, towards the end of 2008, I was offered a place on a fellowship, a leadership fellowship program, which coincided with my mum dying and me having a breakdown and an existential crisis. During that moment, I realized something really, really important. It was that I have always been good enough. And my whole journey of feeling like I wasn't, whether that was at school, on my council estate, in all those different places I went to work, at university, it wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It was a problem of other people. And so at the same time as this realization, it was also the beginning of austerity in the UK, and I felt compelled to do something about it, about something positive for other women like me, those who risked falling through the cracks in silence in one of the most diverse but also increasingly divided cities in the world. And so You Make It was born, an organisation I run to this day, which I began to run from my kitchen table where I am back now with no funding. To put bread on my table, I had to freelance and do other bits and pieces of work. But I did it. I worked like a dog, really. I did it because I was just sick to my stomach thinking about how other young women from similar backgrounds to me risked falling through the cracks. I used my own life experience to create a first pilot programme that aimed to make women happier. And I wasn't a happy young woman. So this was really important to me that I was able to change it for other people coming up behind me. In fact, I was really happy a few years ago, I got nominated as someone in the independent happy list. So someone who doesn't focus on personal wealth, but focuses on making lives better for other people. Post-pilot, over the last 9 years, You Make It's grown its services to respond to ever-changing needs of our users. It runs 6-month-long, back-to-back holistic programs, and we've worked with hundreds of women, bringing them together from all sorts of walks of life to learn from each other and to feel that they're not on their own. Our program has included one-to-one mentoring, workshops covering health and wellness as much as, practical skills around setting up a business or, breaking into employment, work placements, one-to-one therapy, pastoral care, and importantly, at the very end, a beautiful graduation event where women speak loudly and proudly with confidence about who they are and what they want from life. The impact of our work has been phenomenal because we really approach everything with our users at heart. There's one of our alumni, Honesty, who is cool. She's not wearing those glasses because she's cool, it's because she's got an actual health condition. 80% of our women are now in paid employment or do work on their own creative startup businesses. A beautiful thing about our work is that we bring women who live in relative isolation and feel really alone in their struggles as women of colour, but also women of colour who are working class, who, they don't feel there are other people like them. They're not able to exchange and share what it is to be a person of colour and on their journey in life. So it's really wonderful that we're able to connect all of those people together. But also what I think is really important is that we bring lots of professionals who've made it in life together to work with those women. And I think the learning process is not one way. It's not just a mentee who learns, it's a mentor as well. It's not just someone who sits in a workshop, it's someone who delivers a workshop who learns about other people and how life can be if you're not born entirely into luck. So there's COVID. Where we are now is that I'm back at my kitchen table. We've had to give up our co-working space. We're all working in our different home environments, and we're now trying to redefine and redeliver how we support women who are already feeling alone. We've taken what would normally be a sort of very intimate face-to-face in the same space program, and we're now refining it to offer more online services, which include mentoring and therapy and group workshops, but it's obviously just early days and we need to test out whether our approach actually works. I'm pretty confident that it will. Thank you.
Oh, no, I can't. I'm not on my video. Hello. It worked.
Awesome job. For your first projector, it's amazing.
Should we clap? Can we clap?
Oh, yes.
I've never done that before. Like, I've never done a Pechakucha, so.
It was good.
I'll be honest, I didn't time 20 seconds per slide, and that was quite obvious when it was running. I'm sorry.
You have lots of claps coming in from YouTube.
Really amazing. Great job.
I was going to say, Dan's already drawn you, if you can see.
Oh, thank you.
Right. I'm going to say a bit of a lineup change. If you've been to the Pechakucha Night Manchester, you'll know that for our past probably 10 events, we've had a last minute dropout. One of our speakers has dropped out, but in record time, I've managed to replace said speaker. It's Andy Bullock, who can't make it tonight. But Dan Thompson, who is the person who does our drawings, is going to step in and do the Pechakucha. Massive round of applause to him. I will introduce him because he's going to start after the break as well. So just a quick one for you there. Right, next, Steve Clarkson from Leeds. He's the founder of Found Fiction, which is a global network of writers, readers and artists. They're on a mission to inspire people in everyday spaces to write. He's spoken in Manchester and done some events for us, and the work they're doing is incredible, especially around trying to get people to be creative around COVID-19. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce him. There he is. You're unmuted.
I am, and I'm ready if you want to kick things off.
Good luck.
Thank you. So hello from Found Fiction. It's a great honour to be part of this virtual event, which I thought was pronounced Pechakucha until about 10 minutes ago. It's great to see like the people from all over the world are taking part. It's a new kind of stage fright that you get virtually. So we're just going to tell you a bit about what this current crisis has told us about what's important to community, society and humanity. So we're a collection of writers, readers and artists, and we're best known for printing short stories, putting them in envelopes marked read me and leaving them around the world to be found. And it started as just a way for one shy writer to get his work out there in public. And now we've expanded to include the work of 100 writers worldwide. The gift's working, great. There's now 6,000 of these stories published and hidden away in different parts of the world. Like I said, 100 writers and distributors worldwide, as far away as Japan, across the English-speaking world, and also in Polish and French, as this project has kind of grown in recent years. And we also do creative installations and writing workshops and other kind of street literature projects that inspire people around everyday places through the written word. And the envelopes that we used to do, they've become kind of a metaphor for what we're about now, which is about trying to inspire people to find stories in everyday places around the world. And this is what pulls everything together in what we do. And our mission statement is to give people that vision to see stories and find inspiration wherever they are. Because as a writer, it's a gift to be inspired wherever you are. It can really help you out. It can boost your life chances, boost your well-being. And that's what we're trying to give people. And before this crisis kind of descended on the world, we had a lot planned. We had a lot of festivals planned. We had the Saltaire Art Trail, Bradford Science Festival, Leeds International Festival, huge kind of tens of thousands strong attendees were going to attend the events at these festivals. And one was going to be Generate. We had lots of workshops. We just launched Sip and Scribe, which is an equivalent of Drink and Draw, which you might have heard of. We're doing workshops for Leeds City Council at schools, York Literature Festival. We're in touch with a school in Argentina to do workshops. We had a lot lined up over the next kind of few months, including a few kind of street literature projects as well. So we were going to install kind of texts across a part of Leeds to imply that kind of the stories around certain parts of Leeds and bring public text displays to life to capture community voices, the literary equivalent of street art, basically. And things had really kind of looked up for us really this year. This was going to be our busiest year yet. And it was on the verge of becoming kind of a sustainable thing, Found Fiction. We were putting a lot of effort into forecasting, planning, resources, the number of hours and weeks spent just purely on communicating with people via email and promoting events you wouldn't believe. So things were really looking up, and then obviously rather unavoidably, everything was cancelled. So it started out as kind of complete carnage, really, and it was a real shame for the runners of these festivals that all the effort that they'd put in, not just to run events, but all the emails and comms and costing up and all that energy, which has since evaporated, really. But yeah, tried to think about what this means for me, this current time. And I've just been kind of on delivery mode the past few years, doing talks, workshops, following lead, trying to explore avenues, going to networking meetings, and I've barely stopped to take stock of anything that I'm doing, to reflect on the activities that I'm doing. And it was a really weird coincidence that about a week before this really hit the UK, someone that I was doing an event with said that she'd been so busy that she'd never really stopped to reflect on what she was doing herself over the past few weeks. And I was like, well, I never consciously take the time to reflect on what I'm doing. I'm just going from one event to the next. So yeah, what this crisis has kind of told me is three things. So one thing is that we need each other. There was a really tragic moment that I saw on the news where one of the key workers, which are our hero supermarket workers now, was interviewed about what they thought about being a key worker. And she said, I didn't know I was needed before this. And I thought that's a shame, because we're all needed, we're all an ecosystem. And now we're realizing that. Secondly, people are generous. There's a lot of people, a lot of community groups and businesses now doing great work. Even on Facebook community groups, there's people helping each other out. I put a shout out on my local Facebook community group. Has anyone got a game of Scrabble? And someone gave a game of Scrabble to us, which is great. And listening is really important. And it's strange that almost it feels like people are more present sometimes when they're using the device that previously distracted them in the physical world to talk to you. And it's really important. I think this is what it's teaching me. It's important to be attentive over video. So obviously all those physical events have gone out the window that I talked about earlier. And this is what we're doing in the current crisis to keep people inspired and engaged. So we've got our bank of found fiction stories that we're delivering people via email. So if you want to sign up, you can drop us a line at that email address if you want to receive a short story every day throughout April. You know, only a select few people knew how to use Zoom before, I think, but we're kind of on that with our friends at the Old Bank Residency, with our friends at Arts Together, staging kind of interactive writing workshops just online with people who want to dial in and want to still kind of upskill their creative skills over Zoom. And we've also just submitted a proposal to the Arts Council for Culture in Quarantine. So the spoken word community is super strong in Leeds and everywhere across the UK. So we've pitched an idea to have a kind of video performance where the poets kind of tag the next poet in the chain, and they record themselves performing a line of poetry and then pass on to the next poet and the next poet. So yeah, it's actually been hard. This is my lockdown kind of workstation at the moment, and I've been moving house throughout this whole time. I've been living with my partner and a friend of ours who's kindly put us up, and it's really interesting how we're going through this together. And it's been hard to concentrate on anything creative, but this is about reflection as well as production and consumption. So I'm a big believer that things happen for you rather than to you, and it's supposed to lead us somewhere, teach us something, and force us to make change. I think broadly, we've never been so separate, yet never been so together. And we'll, of course, come through this and remember this is all happening for us rather than to us. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. Wow, that's amazing. Over in Pechakucha, Tokyo, we normally say a little bit about that presentation. I just wanted to say it was a really lovely presentation. And again, it's really similar to what's happened with Pechakucha. We have over 100 events a month around the world. They're all non-profit. We don't charge for the format. And it's a really important way for cities to get out there, meet one another, show and share the creativity and the passion in each of the cities. And that's all disappeared. And it's been interesting, just like you were talking about, this struggle to try and work out what to do next. But everybody's passionate to do something. And this is what this event's all about. And it's really great to hear about your experiences too. So congratulations on your next steps.
Thank you.
And we're all feeling that isolation and that moment. I mean, it's been really great that we don't have to travel. I'm not flying internationally. I'm not traveling around in Japan. We're not going to meetings, and it's giving us more time. And it really is pressing the reset button to make you think about what's really important. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, constantly amazed by what you're doing, Steve. Okay, next is Joe Liang from London, who's a social entrepreneur and a campaigner in sustainability. We both did a course called Year Here over time. That's how I got to know her and see her brilliance. Currently, she's doing something called Dare to Care packages, which I'll tell you more about, but it's all about dealing with the COVID-19 crisis by sending essentials to vulnerable people who are in isolation and the NHS staff across London. Jo, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I am.
Good. Right.
Cool. I am ready. Hi, so my name is Josephine, and as you can see from the photo, I'm from Hong Kong, and that's a real picture of Hong Kong. We do live with the constant fear of neon lights crashing our heads. And as a lot of you know, Hong Kong went through something that is quite similar to what is happening right now, which is the SARS, which happened back in 2003 when I was about 12 years old. So a little bit of background, I lived there until I was 16, so I was like not very old and not very young when that was happening. So a lot of very vivid memories. I remember sitting in front of the television and watching the numbers of people dying and people getting infected going up every day and thinking they would never really like come down. And then we went over it. So this time around, it was a little bit different because I'm in the UK. And then ever since then, I had quite a few chronic illnesses diagnosed. So when it happened, I talked to my friend John. It's like, is there something we can do? And here's the message you can see. This is the first time we talked about sending some care packages to people who are in need. And this is kind of how Dare to Care packages was born. We are very small organizations. What we do is that we send essentials to people who are in isolation, especially vulnerable people. And we also send protective gear to NHS staff who are fighting on the front line. Yeah, so as you know, there's about like 1.5 million people in UK who are actually vulnerable right now. And that's just a tally of people who are like older and people who have like very much like immunocompromised positions. But there are so many more people who actually are in need, people who are migrants or people who are refugees, people who don't necessarily have access to the system. And these are people we're really trying to help. So what we have is like a really organized, simple and transparent platform for people to input the needs and then for us to get things to them. People can self-nominate and people can also nominate someone, your neighbor, your loved ones, and then we try to get these packages to them. So maybe a little bit about what is in the bag. So every bag has 3 components. First of all, it's got like something to eat. It has about a week of food supplies. And then secondly, it's got something useful. So something for cleaning, soaps, shampoo. And then the most important of all is something nice. So like a handwritten note from a volunteer, designed bags by the volunteer, and also chocolates, tea, coffee is nice. So right now we have delivered hundreds of bags to different places. So we worked closely with care homes. We've delivered them to migrants, organization, and then just individuals who are in need, who has reached out to us. We have delivered with a network of volunteers. And we have tested all the system now and we're scaling up pretty quickly. So the other thing that we are in a very unique position to do is to redirect PPE. So we have to redirect about 2,000 pieces. The reason is because we're Chinese, and then like there's a lot of Chinese nationals who actually purchased this PPE to be donated when Wuhan was in quarantine. And now they really want to donate to NHS, but because of like language barrier and all these things, they don't get to do it, and we're doing that with them. So the thing special about us, I guess, is that we're all a lot of us are social entrepreneurs, and we're able to use our connections to reach out to groups who are also social enterprise who don't usually do a lot of donations or are not like cashed in like the bigger systems. So here you can see someone doing Vita Coco donating like a lot of coconut water. And another thing is that we take it very seriously. We want to make sure that it's got the useful things for people. So whatever that is not covered in donations, we go and buy it in bulk. So a lot of us are actually American somehow. So here is us reuniting in a Costco and trying to get a lot of things that looking a lot like a panic buyer. Something that we are pretty proud about is that we have a like someone who's really tech minded, so everything is really organized. So on our site there's like a real-time request where you can see people requesting things. So for example, here you can see someone whose daughter is like immunocompromised, and we're able to get to them really quickly. And that's kind of like the kind of things that we're trying to bring to the table, is that we can answer requests really quickly. Right now it's about 2 to 3 days. And for example, someone requests for us for PPE, and then within 2 hours, we're able to like manage some kind of courier system and send it to them, and to keep people happy and safe. Yeah, and another thing that we worked a lot on is to actually work with local partners. So for example, right now we're connected to like different organizations like Think and Do, which is a local community hubs. There's Migrants Organized, so we can reach refugees and migrants, and then Crossroads, which reach women in need, so that we can really target people that are in need. And we can do it in like a big mass. Here we are like delivering to like care home. Another thing that we take pretty seriously is the safety protocol. And so we work with doctors and we work with lawyers to make sure that everything is like safe and sanitized and we're not spreading virus. A funny story is that like on the left, you can see our delivery driver, he's have like this mask. And then actually one of the beneficiary was really scared because he was wearing like a hazmat mask. But then we still managed to deliver it. And then one thing we take very seriously is the psychological impact of isolation. One of the pictures is actually not showing, but all of the bags are, have a handwritten message from volunteers. The volunteers really like doing that because it feels like they're connecting with someone. On the left is a really sweet thank you note. Right now, one of the ways that we're trying to gain a bit of funding is that we have people, you can go on our website and send a card to anyone around the world and send them a little note about how they're doing. And it's got like these fun toilet paper and animal themed cards. Hopefully it can help like a bit of small businesses to stay afloat. And I'm gonna do a really shameless plug here. We're doing a crowdfunder right now. If you have 5 quid, every 5 quid that you donate means that we can get a week of supplies to someone in need. And we're able to do that so cheap because we can do a lot of donations from people. And then we also buy things in bulk. And yeah. This is just like a fun anecdote that I want to talk about. At the end of SARS, because back then I was a Candice opera actress, like a teen actress. So I was invited to the airport to give like some sort of performance to celebrate the lift of the ban. And I remember being in all this makeup and the relief to see like an airport, having people again. And that like, you can feel the sigh, coming up out of me as like a 12-year-old. And the last thing I want to say, on the right is the really famous mountain in Hong Kong. It represents the Hong Kong spirit. It's called Sitisa, which means Lion Mountain. And on the left is like the really famous picture of the milkman during the London bombings. And I feel like both London and Hong Kong are really resilient places, and we're gonna get through this. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. It's
Hey.
a really awesome.
Mark, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I want to say that's a perfect presentation, and that's the sort of thing that everybody wants to hear about. We have no idea how these organizations work and how you get things out. And this Pechakucha Inspire project is all about capturing this in the moment, and again, for next time, let's hope there isn't a next time, but that, people can go through the archive and see all about this. We've got lots of presentations about tsunami and how to get past that and all sorts of things, but this was a really fantastic presentation. Thank you so much.
I just want to add one thing, because I've just seen Veronica's name. Veronica is someone who's part of the Manchester team, and we connected her up with Jo, and she did the logo for Dare to Care, which you saw there. So I think that's like how we can help in different ways by connecting our community. So I thought it was quite a nice tie in there. Okay, who is next? It is Ellen. Yes. Hey. Ellen is a copywriter and from London, and now she's based in Manchester. She got in touch because we run something in Manchester called Pechakucha, where we're sort of using Instagram stories to tell little snippets, in homage to Pechakucha. And she did one on a very interesting topic. I won't spoil it, but now she runs the Blag blog, and I'm just going to let her tell that story. So yeah, Ellen.
Okay, Ellen is now going to lower the tone somewhat from those amazing stories, but let's go for it. Okay, let's go. Okay, so hello, I'm Ellen Liang. I am a freelance copywriter under my very professional outfit of Lingo, whichever side that is. And on the other side, I do Blag, which is a blog about blagging it. In the creative industries, it's about career confessions. Yeah, just kind of like real talk and hot topics, essentially. But more importantly than that, I am a Buffy fan, big Buffy fan. So I think watching the show as a kid raised me into a real sort of empowered woman, sassy pants, and also was a big part in the kind of writer I am now. I've just started again at season 1. It's about my 6th re-binge of Buffy. And in the current climate, it's basically got me thinking about all the themes of the show. So for anyone who hasn't been welcomed to the Hellmouth yet, Buffy is pretty much Scooby-Doo, but with less kid-friendly themes. So Sunnydale equals American Dreamville, but it's also a hotbed for demonic activity. Buffy is a 16-year-old with a vampire slayer calling, and high school is a Hellmouth where bad things happen. So the point of this tenuously tied to COVID-19 talk, what Buffy taught us about facing the apocalypse. So I'm going to try and avoid any major spoilers, but there might be some teasers along the way. But before we get into it, I'm going to attempt to do a 20-second synopsis of every Buffy apocalypse. Okay. 1, very mean vampire tries to open the Hellmouth and destroy the world. 2, Buffy's boyfriend opens a vortex that will suck the world into hell. 3, an apocalypse cult tries to fulfill a world-ending prophecy. 4, demons try to open the Hellmouth again. 5, evil goddess tears down walls between dimensions. All hell literally breaks loose. 6, Buffy's best mate turns into a bad witch, dark art person. 7, primitive evil opens the Hellmouth. Yes, again. So the first thing that we need to know about Buffy is that through all the chaos and the emotional roller coaster, there's always, always time for funnies. Even in the face of very imminent danger, the wit is as sharp as the weapons. And I think that's such an amazing tool for any kind of adversity. Buffy is a sarcastic sass fest from start to finish, with comebacks and quips galore, which I'm sure kind of rings a bell when we think about our feeds and our WhatsApp groups and everything that's coming through at the moment. But if you're struggling to keep up with meme culture, then Buffy is an absolute masterclass. So a bit of a side note, Buffy has its own kind of language, slangwich, as nerds call it. And I could literally write a whole dissertation on it. And there's so many Buffyisms that have made their way into our culture. But here's a cool fact. It's the first ever television use of Googled as a verb. So you can't stay sane solo. Buffy may be the chosen one, but the whole she'll only face the vampires alone thing goes out of the window pretty much in series 1, because she has her Scooby Gang. And Buffy is proof that in a pandemic, it's time to lean into your pals, but like figuratively speaking, obviously. Like when an Inca mummy gets unmummified and starts sucking the life out of high school boys to stay pretty, or when the town mayor sells a soul and tries to gate crash graduation, and in the fan favourite, when a dancing demon makes the whole of Sunnydale into a musical. No matter how scary, the Scooby Gang are in it together. And I think that's really important to remember. And the other thing is no one in Buffy the Vampire Slayer has a side hustle. When they're not surviving the constant ending of the world, they're not worrying about, you know, could I have started this kind of startup if I just spun more plates? They're not worrying about learning languages. So why are we at the moment worrying about, you know, should I be building my empire? In the Sunnydale high school years, most of the characters just about scrape through high school without getting expelled, and they pretty much narrowly avoid death getting to prom night. So any spare time they have is used to chill the fuck out and just be happy, because tomorrow they don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be some new big bad evil. University college Buffy version finds her sharing her space for the first time with her roommate, and every bit of noise, heavy breath, annoying little habit pushes her closer to the edge, which I'm sure sounds familiar for lots of us at the minute. But does she seek distraction by trying to go viral or starting a podcast? No, she puts her headphones in and then proves her roommate was a demon. And then finally, Buffy has to juggle shifts at the Double Meat Palace with parenting duties while still keeping in shape and keeping in touch with her mates. So the moral of the story is we've all got a lot on our plates. if there's a chance to take it easy, then take it. Buffy would. And then finally, here comes the link to the united theme of tonight's talk, tenuous as it may be. It's a sassy show and the fashion is so good that it became bad and now it's back to being good again. But Buffy has so much more to say than that. Behind all the kind of like noughties and 90s references, it's really still relevant now, and it's kind of like why it's one of the only shows that's not getting rebooted. So it may seem like a high school drama, but it's ultimately about this band of misfits uniting time and time again against a common evil in whatever way they can, with whatever skills they have and whatever spirit they can kind of bring to the fight. And so this current pandemic isn't like an apocalypse Buffy has ever faced. And I think actually if it was an episode, it would be incredibly dull, because there'd be no big special effects monster, there'd be no shared scenes at all, there'd be no kind of big weapons, no killer outfits. It would be very anti-Buffy, which is great for us. So just hide. So whilst I like to think that in the face of an apocalypse with raging vampires and zombies, all the body combat classes that I've done secretly pretending to be Buffy would pay off. But the reality is, it might not feel badass, but for most of us, this fight is being fought from our sofas. And that's a really pretty sweet deal. We get to save the day by slaying lockdown life and keeping the real heroes, our NHS and key workers, as safe as we possibly can. So I like to think of the spread of coronavirus as our very own hellmouth, and we have to stop it being opened up on the world. And one last bit of Buffy wisdom, I think I've tried to go a little bit too highbrow for Buffy, is that when all this is over, whenever that may be, and when it's officially sanctioned, we get to party. So now back to people who are actually doing more than just binge watching from their sofas, but hopefully that's been something else in the mix.
Oh, yes, thank you so much. Okay, I think Tash mentioned something about reactions, so hopefully we might be able to get those on so we can actually hear or acknowledge the talks. I'm going to turn to Mark for some commentary.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ellen. This is what's great about Pechakucha. It's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get, and I wasn't expecting that tonight, and that was perfect because I think we need a little bit of change in our lives, a different tempo, and that was really interesting. It was really great, some of the analogies that you found there, yeah, don't really know anything about Buffy, so that was a really great 400-second introduction. Thank you very much.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Right, are you ready, Mark?
Is it me now? Okay, go.
You.
Okay, I better not mess this up, huh?
Okay, so Mark, he was born in Northamptonshire, studied architecture at the Royal College of Art in London. Then he travelled with his business partner Astrid Klein to Tokyo, and eventually founded Klein Dytham Architecture. And yes, in 2003, set this up, and here we are in 2020, which is an auspicious year for Pechakucha, if we say it properly. But yeah, I'm going to let Mark take the reins.
Thank you very much, Kai. And thank you again, everybody, for joining this first Pechakucha Live, Pechakucha Online. I'm ready to go, guys, so just press that button. So yeah, as Kai was saying, I'm an architect and I've been in Japan 30 years now. I traveled to Japan after the Royal College of Art with Astrid Klein, who's my business partner. And this is our day job. We're architects, and this is Ginza Place on the main crossroads into Tokyo. Yeah, we do pretty interesting projects here. It's really great because there's no visual planning rules here like London. There are no planners as such, so we can do anything we want. This is a wedding chapel in the foothills of the Alps in Japan, and it's designed like a wedding veil. When the groom picks up the bride's veil, this swings open. It's perforated with 4,700 holes. So that's my day job. I also got a night job, which was running an event called an event space called Super Deluxe, and we had about 25 events a month. It was a really interesting, well, we didn't to start with, that was the problem. When we opened the space, we didn't have enough events, and we had to invent some events. And this was in 2003, the dawn of digital photography and Keynote on the Mac. And this is where we decided to start running a show and tell. We have these office meetings every Monday morning, people show what they're up to. We thought, well, why don't we do that in a public space and get architects and designers to show what they're up to? But you know what architects are like, they talk too much, especially about a boring handrail detail or something like that. So we thought, well, we're interested to hear them speak, but we don't want to hear them speak too long. So we came up with the idea of 20 images shown for 20 seconds each, so 400 seconds. And we had our first event. Hisayama-san, one of our staff, our main staff in the office, came up with the name Pechakucha, which means chit chat in Japanese. It's an onomatopoeia, so it's chit chat, or Pechakucha, Pechakucha, Pechakucha. And Pechakucha Night was born. It ran in Tokyo for 2 or 3 years, just as a monthly event. And then something strange happened in 2005, 2006. It started to go viral around the world, and suddenly we were in 20 cities. And I made a website and handmade the website, and I made it look like a motorway sign because that's going to be cool. But never do that because the motorway sign gets really, really long. And it's interesting, we've never promoted Pechakucha Night. It just goes, somebody comes from another city, sees it and wants to take it to their city. So I think we've really hit on something that it's a way for people to show and share their creativity in their cities. And from one-off event in Tokyo, we're now in 1,227 cities today. We normally have over 100 events a month, so hence we're moving online. But it is really interesting how this thing has spread organically. And I think there is a need for this type of thing, a need for normal people to show what they get up to. So going back 2010, there was the earthquake in Haiti, and we were about 600 cities then. And there was a thought to get together, could we do something to help? And we ran this project to help Haiti. It was with Cameron Sinclair and Architecture for Humanity. And we had this crazy idea of running events all around the world. We raised $100,000 and we helped build a school in Haiti with the Ben Stiller Foundation. A year later, the shoe was on the other foot, and there was a terrible earthquake and tsunami and nuclear issues in Japan. I just want to give you a sense of that disaster, yeah. 120,000 homes destroyed in 20 minutes with the tsunami, 250,000 destroyed, so they had to be rebuilt. You know, it was a really amazing moment. And Japan had inspired so many people around the world, designers and architects, and we thought it was important for our community to inspire Japan back. So we decided to have a global event. We made a logo. And what's amazing with the Pechakucha community is they are so creative. They come up with these amazing posters, and you know, it's just incredible. And a month after the event, we held, a month after the earthquake, we held a global event. There were 105 cities joined, you know, and it was a really, really amazing, passionate evening. We actually had a massive earthquake again that night. We were at the top of this 50-story building, so it was pretty scary. But what's amazing is this: is we're capturing the moment, we're capturing the issues, and as I said before, we're really not the first responders. We're like the last responders, and we're continually picking up information. People are telling us stories even today about the earthquake and what happened, and how people have recovered. And so, as I say, all these get recorded. Every presentation right now is being recorded. It will be on the website in a few days or a few hours, I think. And here you can see, here's a story about a person who lives in the temporary homes in Japan, temporary housing areas. And then another one here, Safecast, will be speaking next week about this community project they did to assess the radiation risk across Japan. And then other people within our community too have had issues. And actually, just a month after the earthquake in Japan, there was a massive earthquake in Christchurch, and they've had 3 major earthquakes since then. And Christchurch in New Zealand is a very, very strong Pechakucha city. And we set up an Inspire event for them. And again, they've said that this has really helped change their city, and Pechakucha has been this really central part that everybody comes together for. Other things happen. I've just been chatting to somebody in Quito in Ecuador. They had a huge earthquake, so we had a huge earthquake in Kumamoto. We were just happening to be having an event in Tokyo, and we brought 2 cities together and we had a chat. So this brings us to our latest project, which is Inspire the World. And I think we're really, and we're proving that we're doing that tonight. The presentation's been amazing. We've made some ourselves already. Brian at Pechakucha Night, who looks after our whole global community, has made this fantastic presentation about washing your hands. But what we're doing is we're spreading this out and running a series of global events around the world. This is the first one, so thank you again to Manchester and London for putting this on. Next week, we're having one which will be more Europe-centric and US-centric. And then please check back to our website. Just go to the channels and you'll be able to see where all the events are happening. Just by chance, we've been building this thing called Pechakucha Create, which allows you, if you can't make it to an event and you want to say something, go to Pechakucha Create, click on the button, you can upload, voice, and share your presentation online, and it's free. So it's great for school kids, for things to do at home. If you've got a collection that you want to show, your skateboard or your shoe collection, or you've something really, really important to say, please make a presentation there and hashtag it Pechakucha Inspire. So I want to say thank you very, very much for uniting the whole of the UK and being a part of Pechakucha Inspire the World. And let's get some really fantastic presentations and make an awesome archive and inspire everybody in the process. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I think for anyone who's come to our events before in Manchester, in London and across the world, I think you go in thinking, what am I letting myself in for? And then you leave thinking, wow, I'm inspired. And that's I went to my first event, which is in London, and then here I am doing Manchester. And I think anyone who comes to our events leaves truly, truly inspired. So
yeah, we have that all the time. People say it's impossible, they can't do it. There's all sorts. It's oh man, and then they come out and they go, I'm gonna take this to my office because this is a great way to stop people talking for too much, or it's a great way to tell my story very succinctly. You know, so yeah, that's awesome.
I definitely need to take it to my office. Right. Well, thank you so much. That's our first half, actually. So we're just coming up to 7 minutes to 8. So I guess people want to get outside to the clap for the NHS at 8 p.m.
We can do a clap online. Can we do it? Can we clap online as well? I think that's really important. I didn't realize you timed it so perfectly, but I think we should all be back at 8 o'clock to have a clap. Anybody in the UK can go outside. Anybody left from the UK, we can clap inside.
yeah. So press the emoji. I think Brogan's in charge of the technical stuff, so I hope she can.
All right. Thanks, Brogan.
And I guess let me know if you want to clap inside, and I can let you speak.
I'm sure Brian will clap.
Sorry.
I'll clap, and I'm sure Brian will clap. You know, so I think it's very important.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of international people. I guess our YouTubers can't clap, but they can clap. They can clap in the chat.
So for those of you who don't know around the world, you may have seen it, I must have seen it on the news. There's been this, why didn't you explain to international people what goes on during the clap, or how it came about even?
Yes, so there was a lady, forgive me, I can't remember her name, but I think she just had the idea, and it's just one of those things that, well, it goes viral in that sense, but viral for good. And yeah, it's the newspapers, the TV shows, news have taken on, and essentially what people do Thursday at 8 p.m. A couple of weeks ago, they took to the balconies and the doorsteps and just started clapping for the NHS. And I know I definitely felt, people are actually going to do this, because I'm reserved, but I stood on my balcony and people were going for it. And I think for a lot it was an emotional thing. Yeah, it's been fantastic.
It's great to see. I mean, Boris Johnson was on the steps of number 11, number 10 last week, and it's great to see he's getting better. We're extremely concerned. So yeah, let's give him a clap as well, yeah, and clap everybody in the NHS. It's really amazing. Yeah, such a tough moment, yeah.
And so I think we're just going to probably pause in the background. So this is your time now for anyone who's watching to take a break, get a drink. We will be restarting at 8:10 or thereabouts. Just before we restart 8:10, we'll be showing a video, hopefully, if it all works, if we get the sound and all that to work. So please come back a bit sooner, probably 8:05 for that. The final thing that seems to be coming from Ellen's talk, at least, is the hashtag Slay at Home. That's fantastic. So, but yeah, for now, I'm probably going to go out to my balcony. So thanks for everyone for the first half, and yeah, see you back soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Carl. Am I on? I guess I'm on. I'm just going to get a beer because I finished my presentation, and I'm going to be back in 2 or 3 minutes to clap bang on.
You deserve
8 o'clock. Which is 4 o'clock here, by the way. So I'll see you in a tick. Hi, Brian. How's it going?
Mark.
4 o'clock.
It's going great. How's everybody doing?
How are we doing online? It's a lot of people. Yeah,
We're doing great. We're doing great. I'll give you a little tiny status update. I think we've had a roughly over on the on London's YouTube, we've had hovering between 120 and maybe 150. I don't know if I got that high.
150.
And then on the other channels, we're somewhere in the 20 to 50 also range. So I think in total we're in the 300 to 350 people, and I have a feeling that this will get watched. Or people are coming in and coming out, so I don't know if that's the hard number, or I'm not sure. We'll have to kind of pick apart the analytics afterwards and see maybe how many people came and went and caught a presentation. This is the great thing of having being able to enjoy a Pechakucha presentation from the comfort of your sofa, or maybe like in between things on your phone. You can drop in and drop out and drop back in later.
So we're just coming up to 8 o'clock, guys.
Oh,
okay, it's 8 o'clock in the UK. So well done. We have to all clap, Brian.
I'm clapping.
Well done, NHS, everybody working on the front lines. It's really, really amazing. Doing a great job. And I hope Boris is getting better. We're all rooting for you, Boris. Yeah, really amazing. And it's just amazing how the world has stepped up, and everybody pulling together, everybody doing incredible things from nothing. People making face masks and 3D printing stuff. There's some really great stories. We're hoping to have Carl Bass on. He was the CEO of Autodesk for many years, and he's got a shop, sort of a workshop. He sort of left Autodesk, and he's made a big maker space, and they've been 3D printing masks, and he's going to be joining us next Thursday, as is Cameron Sinclair, who is making these prefabricated, easy to erect, like hard tents. It's called Dupe, and you can see it on Dezeen, and he's taking time out to chit chat to us next week too. So lots of people on the front line will be explaining what they're up to too. And as I mentioned, one of our interns at Pechakucha here in Tokyo Dana, she went back to see her parents for Chinese New Year in Wuhan. And she left America, went to Wuhan, and she's been on full lockdown, can't leave the city for 76 days until yesterday. So she'll be joining us next Thursday to talk about her experiences there, which will be fascinating to hear it, for firsthand. So really amazing. But let's hear it one more time for the NHS. Yeah, well, fantastic job. Brian, have you got anything to say? What are your thoughts on this evening so far? It's been pretty amazing.
Well, it's remarkable. It's just I'm really impressed with where we are. I think, like, how did FaceTiming with people, like, we all knew about this, we all used it. No, it's not a new tool for anybody, and yet somehow in this moment, this new way that we're using it, it almost feels like a new form of a new form of gathering. So I'm very excited. I think a lot of us have been on these in the last few weeks, and I think some of us have come away from them, as Kyle just mentioned at the end of the first set, deeply inspired and moving and even emotional at times. So it's really exciting. And also, Mark, I just noticed in my camera, I wanted to bring him on. Notice my piano duster here. And this guy is he's my piano duster, and I just realized, oh, look at this. This guy comes out and does the piano. So for UK.
Most famous piano duster in the world at the moment, Brian.
Say again?
The most famous piano duster in the world at the moment.
Right?
No, but I think what's been interesting with this is that the way the integration with Zoom works to broadcast out. We're broadcasting out on Facebook, we're broadcasting out on YouTube as well, yeah. And there are different ways to aggregate this. And we were messing around till 4 o'clock last night, trying to get it all set up with Kyle and Brogan. And yeah, it is a new paradigm, and the infrastructure that's being built in the digital form, the digital architecture for this is incredible. That we can do this and broadcast out to all the platforms and get comments. I'm sorry we're not very attentive. I'm actually watching the presentations. I'm being present in the moment watching the presentations. And I'm sorry if I'm not replying to people in the chat.
No, it's been
Brian.
So far. Yeah, we've just had the claps. We've got someone who owns an ice cream van outside, so he or she's been playing the jingles.
We have fireworks near us. And we're very central, which is so maybe slightly dangerous.
Yeah. Okay, so I think shortly, if we can possibly get that video up to see if it works. And then get started.
I'm interested to see how a video plays through this, because man, the images are crystal clear from here, from Tokyo.
Yeah.
Oh
right.
wow, that's awesome. That's so clear.
Just before we play, let's. Oh, sorry. Is it working now?
It's just doing its own thing. Okay, we're good.
Oh, hang on. Brogan, just before we press play, is Dan Thompson still in the attendee list? Yeah. Could you?
Oh, yeah, I'll promote him.
Could you promote him?
Dan, you're getting promoted. Hopefully. There he goes.
All right, let's do a quick test. Daniel, can you hear me? I think last I saw he was playing on his guitar.
Oh, hello, mate.
Hey.
Hey, Dan.
I'm in now. There you go. Also, Kyle Ryan's here, just so you're fully aware. Let me just flip it. There he is. We're getting a full family affair. Very nice to meet everyone properly. It's been some gorgeous talks so far already.
Great. Dan, you're not actually on screen yet because I think there's a video. But maybe
that's
just
no need to be on screen just yet.
Oh yeah, I can see you.
There we go. You see me now?
I can see you.
Can you see my boy Ryan?
That's a true picture of what everyone's doing right now, isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, it's just beers in the living room.
Okay, so we're about to play a video. So Dan, we'll get back to you in a sec, but we'll try this video now. So it's Northern Heart Films, who we've actually been in touch with in Manchester. So they've just done a video recently called "The Kingdom United," which kind of fits perfectly with within this theme. So we thought, actually, can we play it now? So we're going to test to see if we can play a video with sound. And if it works, great. If not, we'll just send you the Vimeo link. But props to them.
You want to do that now?
Is that possible, please?
Yeah. Hold on. I'll probably need to mute this side.
I'll mute myself as well.
No. So no sound.
Yeah, we're not getting sound. There is a setting somewhere that says that when you now don't ask me where that setting is. I've seen it somewhere that says how you.
Oh,
can,
I got it.
Sound.
Okay.
You got it.
Let's try again. 1 sec.
We are teenage boys filling pensioners' shopping baskets with the last pint of milk and the last bag of pasta. We are notes through neighbours' doors who we've never even spoken to before, offering a helping hand to those who need it the most. We are those 3 letters that set us apart from the rest. The National Health Service, our NHS. Underpaid and understaffed, and yet they keep going and work and graft. And in 2020, heroes don't wear capes, they stack supermarket shelves. They're there day and night, happy to help. They make deliveries.
No.
We're pushing the limits, Brogan. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Goose pimply already. We're all goose pimply already.
It's true.
There's no emoji for that. I just found out.
Shall we try again later?
Get our notes through neighbours' doors.
I think you're probably pushing your bandwidth limits there. Yeah, broadcasting and going off of Vimeo. Yeah.
Yeah,
We may have to.
We'll send out the
We'll send the link. We'll send the link.
But it was just awesome. Even the first half was amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Northern Heart, for doing that. Sorry, we couldn't do you justice because our internet connection is a bit poor. But I'll get that link out ASAP and people can watch it definitely. But at least we got like 40 odd seconds of it, so it's good. But thank you for that. Okay, for everyone who's joining us again, I was saying before, as ever, we tend to have a lineup change at the very last minute. This is interesting on 2 levels. Sometimes, for a bit of fun, we get speakers to present when they don't actually see the slides or make the slides themselves. So we prepared a deck for a comedian who's supposed to speak but can't, and now we've replaced him with Dan, who, as I said before, is our resident artist at Pechakucha, and he's also done this before, so he should be very experienced at doing all this stuff. He
So you've not seen the slides before, is that correct?
He has not seen the slides before. The slides have been designed by one of our Manchester teammates, Lovish. So yes, we'll see. So Dan, whenever you're ready.
Good luck, Dan.
But yeah, if you can go on mute if you are not speaking. Dan, just say when and Brogan will press go.
Right, okay. Now, I don't know how you've managed to get me signed up to 2 of these where I don't know a damn thing about the slides I'm about to see. But obviously very honored to be a big part of, or to be a small part, I should say, of this Pechakucha online for the first time. Now, I've tasked Jordan Yates, who usually helps out with the Manchester Pechakucha, to say it properly for the first time in like 5 years. So he's going to draw me because I can't draw myself, obviously, or else it could get a bit messy. But it'd be great if anyone else that's watching fancies giving my weird ginger face a sketch as well, just to get it sketched and share it with the Manchester Pechakucha, and then even get it up and share it to mine. I don't know if that's shown up rightly, but I'd be very fascinated to see your illustrations. So yeah, I'm Daniel Thompson. I'm a designer, illustrator, dancer, and shit talker living in Manchester. And let's see how I can do this over a digital platform now. So yeah, please go nuts and start the slide. Unity. How fortuitous that the first slide is the exact theme of the evening. Unity seems almost an odd word to bulge into when we're currently sat isolated in our own domiciles at the minute. But like some of the previous speakers have already talked about, the Unity has actually been quite unique. You can now I'm going to find Lovish and definitely physically assault him again, because he's done this to me twice with these interesting slides that come up. But back to the Unity, I feel like there's been a international, if not global, unity. Now that they're all stuck in our own homes, having to find times to fill with new skills. It could be quite frightening. You know, it can feel a bit, what is this new scenario, this new normal that we have to live in for the next couple months? You know, it can take a couple of weeks to get used to, but I think any sort of challenge always breeds opportunity. You know, it can be the opportunity just to slow down. It could be the opportunity to try and change your habits. You know, it could be a very classy affair, or you could start a very solicit web channel like what you're seeing on screen right now. You know, this inside world that we're now having to live in could be a whole new world of opportunities as the digital space becomes so much more prevalent for all of us. Let me see what this is. I think start making lists. Yeah, get into your bookmarks, start saving websites, spend some more time browsing the web, some of the lighter corners, some of the darker corners around our fantastically interesting digital space we have now. You can get through the lists, get through those tasks you've always wanted to go. I, as you might be able to tell, I'm a bit of an extrovert. I definitely gain a lot of energy from meeting new people. And these past 3 weeks have been quite difficult in terms of not being able to meet new people and gain energy from them. But through stuff like House Party and Zoom, I've been able to scratch that itch of socializing and being able to dive straight into this new world. And like I've seen online, there's been some interesting projects put out there, like people being able to find new ways to use their bathtub, use their living rooms to create new and interesting opportunities and experiences. The Taskmaster show and the BBC have now done online tasks to people. Hopefully it never gets as serious as to bite a cactus, because that's how it might seem. We all might be getting driven a little bit crazy at the minute. You might be looking around your room to see, maybe if I bite this cactus, it could be some kind of feeling that's in this numbness, that's in isolation. But I implore you not to bite the cactus just yet. Find new things to do. All you need is love, a passport. That's an interesting slide. I wish I knew what it meant. I'll have to read into it what I think it means. I don't think love needs to come from exterior sources. I think this is a great time to show some self-love and not in a rude way, even though I'm sure we've got a lot more extra time, but to actually grant yourself a little bit of mental peace in this time, not to rush and to force yourself into any uncomfortable scenarios. Now, you could be a couch potato or be a couch pepper. I think how you choose to express yourself now could be very interesting. Now, you can sit on the sofa and be as plain and as normal as a potato, or turn yourself into a beautiful bell pepper and be as happy as this young lad here. Now, I'm hoping that this isn't the next line of NHS volunteers. I know there's been some amazing people out there that have come out of retirement to come and help in this time, speaking back to that unity that we're all starting to feel. Now, if we starting to look for our canine companions for helping the NHS, I might start to panic a little bit. That slide conjures up a lot of things. I don't know. I think Lovish went into the deep dives of clip art to find this, but hopefully it means that you can reach out to other people and family members to support them and to teach and to share your knowledge, even if it isn't indeed your kid. I know that there's some great initiatives out there like Intern Magazine doing one-to-one mentoring for people online. And yeah, I think people have some interesting approaches to combat this virus, some interesting use of floor tape I've seen across the entire UK. I didn't realize that sellotape on the floor could be as effective as it is to contain a pandemic. And expectations versus reality, like I did expect this to be a lot tougher than it is, and hopefully I'm not in the minority that's experiencing that. I hope a lot of people out there aren't feeling as awful about this isolation as they could do. I think that hopefully they're using it to expand on some skills that they've never quite seen before. And this goddamn Netflix show that has cursed my social media for weeks now. I haven't watched it, and I'm going to save it until the real depth of my isolation kicks in. I find it fascinating that it's really drawn people together in such a fantastic way. And it's amazing that Gandhi is still pumping out quotes at this stage. It's amazing how active he still is, putting out these inspirational quotes at this time. I can't even with this lockdown anymore. Well, I can. I think it's necessary. I think people should try and embrace this lockdown because it is for the health and safety of everyone at once. And the Queen, as we all know, is immortal. So she's not going to be affected by this. She's going to be around from now until whatever the reverse of the Big Bang is, but she'll be there to oversee it with a calm, pastel-colored outfit and probably some very cute words to say about we will meet again at some point. Now, let us see where we are. I haven't kept track of the slides that I'm on, and I wish I had a counted so I know how much time I have to fill. In terms of my diet, if we're going to get onto that now that I'm scrambling for things to talk about, lettuce has not made it into my list of essentials. It's been super noodles and as much beer as I can physically carry from the Aldi to my apartment. This is where I hope it doesn't go. Now, I haven't seen the mutations of COVID. I hope it doesn't turn us all into slightly sarcastic British comedians or zombies. I don't know. I hope it doesn't turn into something like that. But a kind of feel-safe plan would probably do you very well. This isn't going to be on my bar tab, but I cannot wait for this all to come back. And I've heard a term of what the new normal is going to become. I think this is going to have a lasting impact on the world. And I think the new normal will hopefully be a more positive space for everyone, realizing the value of being one-on-one with everybody. And I apologize if that was rambling and didn't make much sense, but thank you for another opportunity for me to ramble through 20 random slides. Is to be a part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. Dan, I asked him about an hour. There you go.
Great plan, man. Let us see. You came straight out with the let us see comment. That was pretty impressive, man. That was like less than half a second. But yeah, you struck a really fantastic tone there. You know, it is you know, a difficult situation we're in, and you don't. There's so much humor coming out of it, and yet, you know, there's so much sadness as well. Yeah, and I thought you hit that perfectly. Thank you very, very much.
That's incredible. Thank you, Dan. Okay, back onto the original lineup. So our next speaker is Liang Campbell from Scotland. She performs Scottish folk songs, poetry and stories, and was doing some sites of cultural interest. She's performed at the Edinburgh Fringe. I think she's going to be singing. Yes, good. And yeah, she found her way to us via Pechakucha and Dundee, so thanks to them. Lynn, are you ready?
Yes, I am, yeah. Just a quick caveat. Oh my God, Dan, like, how do you... Right. The theme of tonight's Pechakucha is obviously unity, and I'm about to get super parochial, but I am going to talk about one of the great universal themes, I think, that we can all get behind in troubled times. So I am good to go whenever you guys are broken. So yeah, I thought I would start by making a statement that at least 6 million of us can get behind. I think Scots are really sexy. I think the world is a sexier place because of Scotland. The amount of innovations and inventions that we've put out into the world has made the globe just a better place to be. And we've also put out a lot of sexy folk into the world as well. Case in point, these gorgeous people on your screen. And that's why I'm here to talk to you tonight about sexy folk. The Scots word for sex is one of the best, I think, in the entire world. It is an absolute gift of a word, and we're global tonight, so we can properly put that to the test as well, which is quite exciting. There it is. Scots word for sex is Hoch Magandhi. What an absolute gift of a word. That is a word that is really serious about sex. It is enthusiastic, it's maybe a wee bit rough, and it is absolutely joyful. And the same can be said for the tradition that we have in Scotland of bawdy, songs and poetry. It's been said that the Scots tradition has a thick seam of good, clean barnyard dirt running right through it, and it absolutely does. We have hundreds upon hundreds of songs and poems that are celebrations of sexuality and sensuality, and it's really something to be proud of. And it flies in the face of a negative stereotype about Scots. That of the dour Scotsman, typified, I think, by ex-UK Prime Minister Gordon Brown. That hangdog expression is, I think, the result of years of repression by church and state. How amazing then that our folk tradition should have these wee pockets of sexy rebellion just bubbling up through it. It's really something to be proud of. And in Dundee, where I live, we don't have to go too far to find any of this stuff. This book, The Songs and Ballads of Dundee, it's a historical document really about ways of life and areas of the city that don't exist anymore. And my favourite song in it, unsurprisingly, is a bawdy one, and it's about an area of the city that doesn't exist anymore. And that is called the Beef Can Close. There it is. Now, the story of the song is about a young ploughman who meets a young woman in a pub. Her name is Jemima Ross, and they have a wee bit to drink. They go back to her lodgings in the Beef Can Close. And Jemima gives him a wee bit of dinner of meat and pies, and then she gives him a wink and a nod and asks him to come bend the hoose to her bedroom. And he awakes in the morning in the bottom of the Beef Can Close, having spent the night dreaming of being in the arms of Jemima Ross. And, well, maybe other meat and pie-based activities, if you catch my drift. Now, that is really subtle chat for the Scots folk tradition in terms of bawdiness. A lot of it is a bit more explicit than that, thanks to Robbie Burns, our national poet. Now, Burns is, well, he was a collector and writer of traditional Scots poetry and song. And he's often the lens through which we see ourselves in Scotland and our culture. And he's most famed for being a romantic poet. And I mean that both with and without the capital R. So there's songs like My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose, like these gorgeous odes to women that he knew, and any number of really beautiful songs and poems about the landscape and nature and its relationship with the human condition. But not all of Burns's works were quite so wholesome. It's reported that there was a book found in Burns's bedroom just after he died called The Merry Muses of Caledonia. Now, The Merry Muses of Caledonia, this book is a veritable cornucopia of absolute filth. It is disgusting. The content in here is incredible, and it's caused a great degree of consternation amongst Burns scholars because, well, it's so dirty. It wasn't published until over 100 years after his death, because these scholars were scandalized by what they found in the Merry Muses. The content is quite incredible, because if Burns is the lens through which we see ourselves in Scottish culture, then where is the place for all these songs about bums and boobs and willies? Well, if Burns thought it was supposed to, then I do too. So the song I'm going to sing for you this evening is my favourite from the Merry Muses, and it tells the story of an old woman in a pub who's asked by a young man exactly what it is that women are looking for in a sexual partner. And well, folks, her answer's pretty class. The title of the song is 9 Inch Will Please a Lady. Here we go. Come read me, dame, come tell me, dame, my dame, come tell me truly, what length or great when a wheel cut him will say a woman duly. The calling clue once until stay ready. I'll understand you night and day. 9 Inch will please a lady. And she said, but for a country cunt like mine, in sooth were nae sae gentle. We'll tak twa thumb breath to the 9, and that's a song sae pinto. Come lead me on, my Charlie lad, I'll never forget my Charlie. No, 'twere roaring hand foot and a dot. He mitched a 10 foot early. And the weedy father leaving down, but me it ne'er can thriving. For it's no the length that gars me loud, but it's the double driving. Come nitch me time, come notch me time, come nitch me out the nival. Come louse and lug your battering ram, and thrash him at MacGyver. Come louse and lug your battering ram, and thrash him at MacGyver. Now that is absolute filth for those of you that don't understand like 17th century Scots. And I will put up a little slide up on the hashtag later on, so you can kind of get to grips with some of the stuff, because it's kind of lost in translation, quite a bit of it. Now, I should say this is a UK-wide thing. It's not completely specific to Scotland, this tradition of bawdy songs and poetry. So, you know, speak to a folkie from where you're from. There's a hell of a lot more of that stuff kicking around. And if this has piqued your interest in bits of the Scottish tradition, then do yourselves a favour and YouTube this gentleman, Kenneth McKellar, The Ball of Kirriemuir. It's maybe testament to just how filthy and inventive that the Scots can be. Thanks, folks. Enjoy.
Lynn, thank you so much. Wow. They all need a good laugh, and that really helps a huge amount. And you've given us another view into the Scots. I didn't realise. A lot of things are beginning to make sense now after that presentation. Thank you so much.
Oh. Yeah, thank you so much. I think, again, it sort of demonstrates how versatile this format is. You know, Dan doing improv and I was doing a selfie. And yeah, singing. Lynn, thank you so much for that. Okay, let's keep going. So next on the list is Mike. So Mike, he spent 30 years in medtech and has been doing all sorts of jobs around mask and ventilation businesses, which have obviously come to the fore now. He's involved in a medtech consultancy business. And he's going to talk to you about a project that he's involved in right now, trying to help organisations like the NHS and people. And so, yeah, without further ado, I'll turn to Mike. Mike, are you ready? Hang on. Mike, I need to unmute you.
Yep. Yeah, I'm unmuted. I'm just saying thank you for putting me on after what? How can I follow that? That's all I can say. except to say that I'm actually a Scot, and I completely concur with her. We are sexy, and actually my first slide will show you that is the case. Well, actually, after my second slide. So I'm going to talk, it's a personal journey for me, and how my first 55 years prepared me for the last 10 days with regard to the crisis that we're all sort of living through. So so now I'm ready to rock and roll, and let's go. So I'm starting at the very beginning, and as you can see, my father and my mother, this is day one. I was born 3 days after Winston Churchill died, and I don't think that they had a television, because I'm one of 6 surviving children. I think they also had a couple of others. Big family, very small place we lived in, and finding a bike and getting out and learning about the world, and learning about getting away and crashing into people's cars and making an impact. It was a very friendly but busy childhood. These are my siblings, like a mafia shot. My mother in the middle, she's still sane. Learned a lot of skills. Formed me relationships, how to get what you want, or indeed hit my little brothers if I didn't get what I wanted. So we fought a lot, but we are a close family. My best friend at university was Zambian. I was chief best man at his wedding. I learned a lot there. His father had spent 10 years on death row. I met him at the wedding, and then we went out to travel around the country and saw people with nothing. It was a bit of a life-changing trip on many fronts, not least that I was the white man with rhythm. My career has been in lots of different areas of medtech. I joined it because I wanted to help people in terms of getting technologies out there. Ventilation and respiratory issues formed a lot of what has made me me, but my network is what formed here, and all the people that I saw. My first trip down under to the ventilation and mask development team, I wanted to make an impact. So they're Australian, so I showed them this slide. You can imagine what happened after that with regard of me, but they remembered me, and they're the guys that design and make all of these technologies that we're now in need of. What I learned as I went through all of this was that if you under promise and over deliver, that's good. If you help the people win, that's also good. And I think as you do that through your interaction with people, you create bonds, and those bonds are very important as you go through life. You develop trust, and people trust you. This photographs at the bottom of my ventilation team, European ventilation team, who we were building bridges to bond as a group. These guys are now doing amazing jobs trying to get ventilators out the door to all of the countries around the world. A lot of those people are still there. 10 days ago, I got involved with this corona virus. It was such a massive sort of impact. All my professional life, a lot of those people are getting involved with this, but there's also a lot of personal aspects to it. And I was contacted by a guy from the respiratory world to bring over a ventilator. He asked me if I could find a manufacturer. Just down the road from me is the Mini Factory that's closed down, and I knew a guy in the triathlon club who was working there. He put me in touch with somebody in BMW, and but then somebody else in the tri club said, I'm part of this group, and this group is trying to find products for people on the front line, ventilators. There's not enough protective gear. We need all of these gadgets, and there isn't enough of it. And they introduced me to a group of amazing people. And my first weekend with this group was just mind-blowing. The group was called NHS Hero Support. The picture in the top is just a few of them. Volunteers finding masks, protective gear, ventilators, and they are now also part of a group, a bigger umbrella group. There's been a huge amount of passion.
trying to get technology, trying to get just basic protective gear. As you can see, actually Dyson have made a ventilator in the top left-hand corner. That's the proper stuff, but make do will do here. We're also in discussion with a lot of people who making simple stuff, and actually black bags are pretty good. I reached out to my expert group, all of those people I met over the year. I phoned up. I was on the phone in the middle of the night. My first 2 days of being involved with this, trying to get answers to questions, trying to find product, trying to check that products weren't taken from China, which were wrong. And my group has been amazing. These are some of the people I've reached out to in these different countries. There's Sweden, Norway, Germany, US, Australia, Malaysia. All these people I've talked to in the network, all prepared to engage, all prepared to give their time. Even people that are actually selling these things. Fantastic group of people. And what I learned here, and this is reciprocity. This is about what you put in, you sow. And I think those first 50 years prepared me for getting involved in something which is completely full on. I've had very little sleep. And this, I've met amazing people, and it's changed my perspective on life. These are the people who are the real heroes, though, the front line, but also my family. So that family there, my sister-in-law is a nurse. She caught coronavirus on the second day being back in a ward because she didn't have protective gear. My niece is a respiratory physio setting up people on ventilators as we speak. My brother's a pharmacist. All of these people. And the main message I'd like to put across here is that it's a virtual world we live in, but those personal connections really, really matter. And when we get together, we are much greater. We are much greater together. There's lots of synergy that can make solutions for what is going on here now. This is a key time for us to really change our focus, and it's changed mine. And all of this compassion that I see, all of these things that have happened in my life have really come, and I've really had to change myself and how I see things. And I'm just in awe of all of the people, the volunteers, but mostly the people that are trying to save people's lives. And this is about saving people's lives. So if there's anything we can do, but remember about this compassion, about being connected to people, and really to look after each other.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Mike. Mark.
Yeah, wow, what another amazing presentation, so poignant. All of many things you said, and I think that's what we found with the Pechakucha network around the world, whether we're doing this for Haiti or for Japan or for Nepal or for Christchurch. We bring people together, we share ideas globally, and this again will go into the archive. And it is amazing the creativity that comes out of these difficult situations. And I'm a Brit, and there's that sort of British ingenuity that comes out, all sorts of things. Whether it's a vacuum cleaner company making filters, all the things you described was really amazing. But I think the most important thing is pulling people together and getting these boundaries and borders erased. And Pechakucha is really, we're not a country-based organization, we're a city-based organization. Cities are really important in the world. We're across China, we're in Hong Kong, we're in Taiwan. We don't talk about any countries, we talk about the cities. The cities are the most important thing. And bringing people together in the cities which have passion. And we don't promote Pechakucha at all around the world. It goes viral itself. And it goes viral with people who are passionate about things. And the fact that everybody's on this call tonight and making presentations at a moment's notice, even a few hours, in fact, is amazing. And I thought you really hit the nail on the head tonight. So thank you so much, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. I'm putting some of the links out there on the chat. And we can definitely do that on Twitter afterwards, so people can follow up. That's NHS Hero Support. If you just type that into Google, you can find out more about that. Okay, next we have Melin Erdomonye, who is now representing Wales. So we've had people from Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, and that's Wales. She self-described multi-hyphenate, currently managing team Illustrate Digital in making WordPress websites. She hosts Creative Mornings, Cardiff, which is another great community event across the world. And she's running a boutique design studio on the side. So I'm going to shut up and let her do the talking. Melon, are you ready? Okay, she's going to try and unmute. No, did that work? Hey, all right, just say when.
Hello, everyone. Just great talks to follow, so nervous now. Okay, I'm ready. As humans, one of our most basic and important needs, of course, followed by our physiological needs, is belonging. And this is, I believe, is the why to most of the things that we do in life. This was always very evident for me. First of all, I was born in a country where nobody looked like me. At school, I was the only mixed race student. My hair, my skin color, or how well I spoke Turkish, even though this was my own mother tongue, was often the topic of conversations. Maybe because of this difference, I have actually learned to be a chameleon who can blend in with different crowds throughout my school years. Moving to the UK to study meant I had to fit into another culture where visually I fit in more easily, but culturally it was very different. And once again, I was trying to fit in, but finding it difficult as most of the time I was being laughed at for my accent and lack of understanding of British culture. I found it hard to make real connections with people, and trying to become a graphic designer in a foreign country was something else. Now, you get the gist. I've never felt like I fitted in, and I was also often told what I couldn't do or what I couldn't be. First, I couldn't be a designer, then I was told I couldn't become a leader, because I was told leaders were born and not made. So yes, I still kept going. And soon enough, I discovered that this plain fact of being the odd one out, or the weirdo, or the willingness to keep going, was also the very reason I have fitted into so many different groups socially. And I was never alone, never short of friendships. And maybe, in fact, I had too many diverse groups of friends. Because obviously, deep down, I really wanted to belong and to be creative. Becoming a chameleon was my way of belonging to many different groups. Realizing the benefits of being able to adapt to these groups, learning to have different conversations, small talk, as well as serious conversations, was the start of discovering my own people skills. So through my need to belong, to blend in, to find my tribe, and my need of approval, I've learned a lot about people. And guess what? I don't think I was alone. I've learned that everybody needs these things. It turns out that we all need a tribe. We all need somewhere where we feel we belong. We all seek that approval, those interactions and exchanges of ideas, and those smiles and hugs to feel alive. So the very reason that I thought I wasn't enough, or I was made to think I wasn't enough, or that I was an outsider, was the very reason I was able to lead with my heart. It was the very reason I had the passion to bring people together in the first place. It was the very reason I wanted to do something, anything, to help people like me who felt stuck in life because they didn't feel creative enough, who constantly questioned themselves and needed reassurance, who weren't privileged enough to have a support system around them to lift them up. Discovering your own power is a journey in which you start seeing your own strengths and weaknesses. Then comes the vulnerability of knowing you can't ever be perfect and you are just you, your own unique self. And once you realize that, and find the courage to be open about it, that's when you can truly be yourself. And people do actually accept you as you are. Of course, at the same time, we can't underestimate the power of pushing yourself to do things out of your comfort zone. No matter how cliche it sounds, this is true. We all know growth isn't possible without some degree of struggle, of course. I'm going to take a moment because I think I've spoke too quickly. This is how I started volunteering for the biggest face-to-face creative community, Creative Mornings. I started as social media manager, and my passion for facilitating events meant that I got more and more involved, and I am now the host of Creative Mornings, Cardiff. This is actually from one of the first events that I started working. I think that was almost 5 years ago, and you can see it was in a coffee shop, and that's all I'm doing. I'm socializing on and tweeting throughout the event. So taking over the hosting responsibilities was very scary. I didn't think I was confident enough to stand up and talk in front of people. I didn't think my English was clever enough. I also didn't think I was creative enough. Basically, I was shit scared to fail, because of course I've failed many times before. I've lost jobs, and most importantly, I've never led a group of volunteers before. However, I'm proud to say that since then, we have grown our audience per event. We have created more collaborations through the network that we've built. We've had more diverse speakers from an incredible range of different backgrounds. And I've learned, and I'm still learning, how to work collaboratively with a group of passionate people who are giving up their own time with nothing in return apart from the love of community. Since we're all volunteers. It's still scary to stand in front of people. It's still challenging to collaborate and lead a team from time to time, but I come to an understanding that I just kind of need to get over myself, because I feel like the things that we bring, the people that we bring together, and the community matters a lot more. The team and I just love creating a space for people to be inspired, to inspire, to share stories, to feel supported, to feel educated or enlightened, and to be exposed to subjects or people which they would not in their daily lives. Especially, especially these days, we are really learning the beauty of communities and the value of face-to-face interactions. And I guess the importance of our roles as community leaders or members in bringing people together is crucial these days. We still need these interactions, just like this online event, and just like every Creative Mornings event that's been carried out digitally, and many more amazing online gatherings. I don't think our roles has changed at all. I believe we need to keep being that glue to hold people together, facilitating those interactions, just on different platforms for now, but inspiring and empowering people to be creative, open, and courageous by being creative and open and courageous ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Slightly early.
Much, Merlin. Yeah, really lovely. Again, another amazing presentation. And I think what Creative Mornings is doing is really amazing too. And all these platforms, I mean, we started this 17 years ago, our first Pechakucha night, and it's kind of evolved, but the fundamental thing is still 20 slides, 20 seconds, but it is allowing anyone to present, whether it's Astrid, my business partner and the co-founder of Pechakucha night. Her daughter presented when she was 5 about her paintings and actually her trip to London. And she showed her photographs of her trip to London. And you know what? All she had was pictures of handrails, because a 5-year-old, when they take pictures, all they see is a handrail. And my mum presented, she was 70, she presented about the flower arrangements that she makes in the church. And I think what Creative Mornings is doing is really amazing too. And we're sort of bottom up, okay? And we love TED, and they do really a fantastic job, but they're very much top down. But Pechakucha is about being bottom up, and anyone can present, whether it's, as I said before, your shoe collection, your skateboard collection, or more importantly, really important messages like today, finding out what everyday people are doing in this moment of crisis. And there were so many stories today about that. And there isn't really many platforms to get that out beyond the news. You know, the news is dreadful at the moment, and there's nothing in depth. And there's so many important messages to get out, but what real people are doing. Reporting kind of sucks, and these presentations really show the amazing ingenuity, which I don't see on TV at all. You know, and I just want to say that the key thing about Pechakucha is it's 20 slides, 20 seconds, and we want you to look listen and think. Okay, but I know there were some animated GIFs earlier, but we don't want any video because you know it distracts you from thinking, and you get sucked in. And we want you to look, listen, and think at the images, and that's really important. We're used to Anderson Cooper and the bottom 1/3 moving, and it's kind of entertainment. And this sort of Zen presentation format allows you to observe and think at the same time because the images are still. So thank you very much for a really, really awesome presentation.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you. Amelia, I think one of the things I really wanted to sort of pick up on, what I reflected on, is the sort of the value of volunteers who help build these things. I think, you know, we're, you know, Brooke and I were the organisers, but we're nothing without those people who give up their time for free and sort of demonstrate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But there we were there like 4 o'clock last night in the morning on a call with. I mean, there's another energy, a different passion comes out. You know, I've just spent a day at work, you know, or a day at home, and then you go into another gear for Pechakucha and for the community, you know. And I think we're seeing that all around the UK. You're seeing that all around the world, that people are really stepping up, and there is another level you can go to. And it's really great to talk about.
Yeah, thank you all so much for this, by the way, guys.
Thank you, Mel. Brilliant.
No, thank you. Right. Okay. Just one thing. When you during your talk, I just want to do a quick shout out to Jahid Hussain, who's on our team, who runs Fuse Direction. I think one of the things he's pushing very much is to sort of try and help ethnic minority talent to get their voices heard. And so we sort of want to support that platform. So I think we should have a discussion after this and sort of connect people up together. Okay, right, this is it. We're actually nearly on for a 9 o'clock finish. So our final speaker is Tash Wilcox. Tash has done a couple of Pechakuchas for us in Manchester. Her first one was 20 minutes long, which broke the format, but it was still brilliant. But yeah, she's had 20 years of experience shaping future change makers. She's an illustrator. She works at Hyper Island, which is a great organization, teach people that sort of design thinking, that kind of thing, and sort of digital transformation. She's done tons of talks, tons of illustration, including for the band Elbow, who are great. But yeah, she's going to round off this evening with a talk. So Tash, are you ready? Hope. Do you know what?
I've unmuted myself. I don't think I can do my camera though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so somebody's disabled my camera.
Okay.
It was my body popping. Cool, thank you.
I'll hear your voice. Okay.
Awesome, I'm not ready, don't start it. But I won't take 20 minutes, I promise. Okay, so just to start, I was asked to do this 2 days ago, so I feel a little bit like I'm in Dan's shoes in the minute, because we are at Hyper Island, which is a creative business school, flipping 5 courses online. So we have a lot of students who are being incredibly brave and resilient at the minute, going from in person and flipping into online. So I've been doing that in the day and trying to sort of put something together for this in the evening. So bear with me. Cool, right, I'm ready, press go. Perfect. So what I want you to do first is, if you're sat down and you're able to, stand up, stop sitting on your asses. You've been sitting down watching us for far too long. So stand up, take a breath of fresh air, because what I want you to do is think about Darwin's paradox. Wiggle your toes a little bit. You are Darwin, you're standing on a beach. You've got a couple of pigs and a parrot behind you. The island's pretty sparse. It's April the 4th, 1836. It's the Indian Ocean. If you go further out into the ocean, there's a couple of sharks and a swordfish, but what's actually in front of you is the coral reef. And the amazing thing about the coral reef is it's 1% of the entire marine environment, but actually it's 25% of all marine life. The reason I'm talking about this is because the constant battering of the reef creates change, it creates diversity. And when we talk about diversity, a lot of the time we just say, got a woman in the team, but that's not diversity. Diversity is moral stance, health, experience, gender, color, age, expectations, goals, introverts, extroverts. So what I wanted to talk about was diversity, but then I realized we should be speaking about sort of COVID, unity, bringing us together. So I'm going to skip this slide. And what a lot of us are doing at the moment is sitting down and looking at our phones. I love my phone. Everyone that knows me, I've always got my phone on me. Basically, this is because it gives us bright pseudo dings of pleasure. It's sort of like pops our cortisol, pops that dopamine. You think we want food, sex, and drugs, but we don't really. We just want to scroll on Instagram. So what I want to do is think about how can we leverage diversity to get us off on our phones and actually still get that pop of cortisol and dopamine. So I asked a lot of different people in the lockdown, how do you make yourself happy? I asked people from Brazil, people from Sweden, introverts, extroverts, a couple of cat dads, and this was their answers. So number one, smile. Somebody said it was like inner jogging. So smile, laugh. Actually, the thing with smiling is, even if you just go, there's something in your muscles that actually makes you feel like you're actually smiling. Have a look at Shauna Core. He speaks about this a lot. Actual jogging, go out and do some exercise. Carlos, a Brazilian student, Yash, a regular solid guy from India, Katie, an introverted witch gamer from Cornwall, all spoke quite heavily about going out into nature, going and exercising, sort of getting yourself out. The most interesting thing is how people actually explained themselves. Write a love letter. So this came from Kristen, an extrovert Swede, and Victoria, an easily amused Australian. One said, write a love letter to somebody else, so connect with somebody else, or write a love letter to yourself. Tell yourself that you're wonderful. You are. Because the thing with writing these love letters, these stories is, we're actually all inside got that inner monkey. We're nitpicking. It's our version. Telling stories is our version of grooming each other. It's sharing stories. It's grooming, not gossip. It's building those bonds of trust by telling each other stories and bonding. That's where we get those pops of cortisol and dopamine. The phone keeps you going back for more. It doesn't get that opioid out. It's like having a sort of really quick snack. When you actually bond and tell stories, it pops out the opioid and it makes you feel full and satisfied. And then the oxytocin kicks in, which promotes pro-social empathetic behavior. So that's basically, you like talking to each other and you want to do nice things. My mum, who's 75, Taylor, a 19-year-old Cornish girl, Ben and Mark, the cat fathers, all talked about active listening and actually really, really listening to somebody. Pick the phone up, actually speak to them. You don't need to be on a Zoom call. If I need another Zoom call, I don't need that. And at this point, I like to tell a story. I'm going to sort of get you to empathize with me. So bad stories, bad decisions make great stories. This is a story of me getting dumped again. I like to tell these if you've been to my talks before. So I was 14, I was sat on the back of the bus. I've got mascara pouring down my face. My boyfriend is holding my hand. He's basically just dumped me. And in between the gasps of snot and tears, I go, but why don't you love me? And he looks at me and he smiles and he goes, oh, I never loved you. So keep telling stories. And when you're alone, because as I was alone then, give yourself a helping hand. One thing that people don't sort of give enough credit to is wanking. You can do it on your own. It gives out the dopamine, the cortisol, when you climax, you get better sleep. Nobody cares if you roll over. And also for the ladies on their periods, it gets out the opiates, which is like basically Nurofen for your brain. Devika spoke about dancing. Dancing nobody's watching because they aren't. The Cornish witch said, go out like nobody's asking because nobody is asking. And finally, not having to chit chat to colleagues was a very, very popular one, and actually getting stuff done, which came from Radina from Bulgaria. Finally, I think the one that was most popular, and Marcos, a Brazilian father of 3, and Jem, who was 3.5, both said chocolate. Basically, chocolate releases endorphins. It sort of stimulates the brain. Marcus actually said, eat dark chocolate so you don't get too overweight in this sort of climate. Okay, so popping on, again, moving back, all of these things pop out your cortisol, your dopamine. It gives you that opioid sort of release and gives you that sort of really nice behavior. Why am I talking about this? The reason I'm talking about this is we've been given a very, very simple job. Most of us, if we're not key workers, have been told to sit at home on our sofas and just stay inside. The thing is, if we keep ourselves happy, the positive emotions broaden the thought actions in our repertoires. And by that, it makes you feel good and you want to help others. It makes you be more innovative. And what I've seen, which is one of the things that I think is how to spread the love, is look at the diverse people around you, look at what they're doing, take heed of those people that you might not usually. Kids are spreading positivity through the rainbows that they're posting into windows. 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds should be influencing us. Speak to loads and loads of different people. And as the UN briefing says, kindness is contagious. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you so much. Wow. Kindness is contagious. Well, first of all, what incredible slides. You're such an artist. They just blew us away. If you could see all the comments that were coming up when you were presenting, it was amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just blown away by everything you said, but also I didn't know what to do, whether to listen or to look at or to read your slide. But they were fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's it. Thanks, Tash. Thanks to everyone who joined us. And yeah, that's it. That's the magic of Pechakucha and what we can bring if we join forces. So thank you for being part of the test.
I want to go around and have a chat to everybody, see what they thought. I've been chatting to Brian. I was present. I was totally present, but we've been chatting, and I think this was our first real online live Pechakucha. It's been a huge success. Thank you so much. It's been flawless on the technical side from our side, from where I'm looking. I don't know what it's been like for people online, but I think it's been pretty amazing. So thank you, Brogan, for managing this, and thank you, Brian, for helping set all the broadcast stuff out. It was amazing. But I think it'd be worth just going around having just a brief sentence from everybody about how they felt, and yeah, just have a couple of words.
Yeah. So shall I go from there? On my top left, I've actually got Brian. You're in on. I'm unmuting you. I'm trying to unmute you. Brogan, can you unmute Brian?
I can unmute. There we go. No, so just to keep it short, amazing. I think the question I would have, I'll pose it maybe. I don't know if I'd change it. I want to build on this amazing success that we had tonight. But to be honest, like, I don't know what I could possibly do, what we could do to make it much better. I mean, that was like a pretty fun, like, it was perfect. But I kind of am going to follow up on some of the comments, but I think we found the right amount of engagement. And I think one of the most fun things about this format, as opposed to like a physical event, is that we can engage in actually real time by sending private messages and commenting and hearting and all of those features. And I also am a little bit worried that, like, if we were to open it up to 100 people, inside the Zoom, or, if we over engage, did we hit the right balance of everybody feeling like they were, both the people in the audience maybe can comment and the speakers as well? Do we need a more engaging experience, or did we hit it right on the money? That's what I would say. That's the one thing. And otherwise, I thought it was a fantastic event. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Lynn's next.
in terms of like the facilitation and the tech, like just really well done. This is incredible. Like you've pulled off something pretty amazing here. So yeah, huge well done, you guys. And just everyone's brilliant, and it's just a testament to the amount of amazing things that are going on right now, and people pulling communities together when actually globally we're going through a really shit time. So yeah, amazing content, and I'm just in awe of every single little person on my screen right now, you know. Yeah, really well done, guys. Really, really well done. Brilliant.
Thanks, Lynn. I should say to people who are watching now, feel free to engage in the comments if you want to join us in talking about it. We're just going to be chatting amongst ourselves now. Okay, Dan, you're next.
Unmuted. I just want to say it was absolutely beautiful, to be perfectly honest with you. I think what Brian was raising there, I think we hit the perfect amount of engagement without it becoming convoluted and a bit too overcomplicated. One of my favorite times of the social calendar is when the Pechakucha, aka Pechakucha, comes to Manchester, because through it, a city that felt like a strange city became home to me overnight, because I was able to make such beautiful connections. And I think that's what Pechakucha, aka Pechakucha, does so well. It just brings people together when it's a physical event. And I have to admit, I got the same type of feeling tonight, to sound a little bit cheesy. Like it felt nice to sort of have Pechakucha / Pechakucha in my front room. I'm honored to be a part of it. Even just sketching, to be asked to speak was a lovely privilege. I think it was gorgeous. It felt very inspiring, as it always does. Even more so now to be in people's rooms and houses across the world, you know, because that's kind of what this has helped us. Even though you're stuck in your own bedroom or your own bathroom or wherever you get on your phone, you can be broadcast into any spot across the world that you so wish. So I think it was gorgeous. Thanks for being a part of it. And I think something like this each week, and hopefully the engagement and interest will just grow and grow and grow, so that people will join this conversation and hopefully start multiple other conversations off their own back. That's what I kind of hope. I hope that many Pechakucha start growing off the back of this, and people just start connecting while in isolation, which is what people need, I think. So well done, all the organizers. Absolutely stunning job, all the speakers. And I will get to draw on all of you, and I hope at least one or two of you mofos drew me back. So thank you again for letting me be a part of it. Oh yes, Tash, you legend, mate. I knew you would. Absolutely knew you would, mate. Oh, and
Daniel, thank you so much.
Lynn as well. Absolutely staggering, like fantastic. It's a feeling of social interaction I've needed for the past 3 weeks. So thank you all very much for letting me be part of it. I'll be recharged for another couple of weeks. Thank you all so much. And I'll shut up.
Right, Mike, hey.
I just feel humbled to be in the presence of, I mean, the presentations were magnificent, I have to say. Just, you know, it's opened my eyes. You know, it's been a bit of an epiphany, this whole thing. And I just entertained, informed, the compassion, the feeling and love and the adversity that people have expressed, but then actually how they've resolved it is just amazing, and I genuinely believe that. I also commend Brogan and Carl. You know, I mean, with the boss sat there. I mean, you know, I've been in the situation with the boss sat there and everything going on and all the stress and amazing stuff. And you know, I always say this to my friends who are a lot of them are much younger than me, and to be honest, it doesn't mean anything. I've just been so inspired by all of these stories tonight. Amazing stuff. So thank you for actually building on what's been an incredible couple of weeks. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Great. Okay, Ellen, and I think that's Craig.
Yes, it is. I've got a stowaway. Yeah, I think like all good technical wise, obviously, but I think kind of to Mark's point of, normally it's a city thing. I think there's something really nice about speakers and also audience from all over the country. I know that was kind of the theme of this one, and obviously it's very apt in the current climate, but I think it feels like there's definitely a space for that, whether, however things go forward, we keep operating in our little pockets of cities, and whether there's, one element that brings us all together. I think that's something that's really a really strong, powerful thing to come out of this. And yeah, just amazing, such an amazing, like different pockets of stories and different angles on what's currently happening. And yeah, feel very, very humbled to have brought Buffy the Vampire Slayer to that.
Slay at home. Slay at home.
Slay at home.
Thank you for helping us. Melin.
I feel all the feels, so really I'm grateful for you, Kyle and Brogan, for organizing this. It's been flawless, really. You said this was almost like a test, but it didn't feel like it. Felt really professional. So, and like everyone said, I just think there's been amazing stories told, really great speakers, like really inspiring things happening. So being a part of it was really nerve-wracking for a bit. I just thought, oh, what am I doing? I had my imposter syndrome, and then I got over it. So it was, and also I do find that not having the actual people interaction was quite an odd thing for me. I think that made me actually a bit more nervous than usual, because I guess I've now gotten used to having that interaction with people and bouncing energies and like kind of sussing the room out, which eases you out a little bit if you got a good crowd. And this was particularly challenging from that perspective, but technically it was all great. Everything was lovely. Thank you so much, all of you, for organizing it.
Nice. Thank you for your time. Okay, Tash.
Hello. Yeah, I'm going to say thank you, and I'll build on what was just said. Like, my massive ego hates doing this because I don't get claps, and sort of I can't see people laughing at me a lot of the time. Yeah, and when I talk about sort of wanking and getting dumped, it's a bit sort of like, oh, how are they taking this? However, yeah, I'm sort of, the more I'm doing it, the more I'm really loving it, because actually what I'm realizing is, number one, I get to see into people's houses and I sort of see a different side of them other than the one that they present to me. But the other thing is, Kyle knows this, like I miss so many, I'm going to call it PKs, because I have to travel a lot for work, and I sit there gutted that I can't be in Manchester for the sort of events. So a lot of the time, because I'm traveling, I miss it. But also doing online presentations, I've noticed people are joining that might not join usually because, you know, different abilities, different sort of, like, they don't want to go, or they're from different backgrounds, they don't feel like they fit, etc., etc. So sort of building on that diversity, I do think it's opening up a sort of very different avenue for people to access events like this. And this is what I like about PK, because you have different people on stage, and it'd be really great to have different people in the audience. And I do think having it online and having the sort of ability to join from anywhere at any time is it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tash. Okay, Brogan.
Oh God. I'm a bit emotional. I think this was really, really good. And honestly, it's given me kind of a sense of purpose for the past 2 weeks. Thanks for Kyle to just like one night I was like, we should do this. And he got on board right away. And thanks for Tokyo for helping us out. And thank you guys for speaking. Honestly, it really did feel like a normal night. I am a bit emotional. I think I might cry. So don't make me talk anymore, but thank you very much.
No, and thank you to you as well for all the Zoom chats as we were prepping for it.
Yeah, so much prep.
No, appreciate it. Thank you. Steve.
Yeah, I've moved rooms. It's more comfortable more comfortable here. But yeah, I've really loved it. It's been really wonderful, and it's just nice to be surrounded by people who are like solutions minded. And I've made so many notes as well. I must have like 7 pages of notes here of people who I'm going to follow up with and organizations to research. And it's just kind of told me about the kindness of strangers as well. And I was like Ellen said, I think about what Mark said about the cities, because cities in some way have more in common with each other than countries do and nations do. And that's got me thinking quite a lot, really, about the commonalities between cities across the world. And I think this has been a good celebration of that. And I didn't quite realize how global it was going to be. I mean, I know there's been people dial in from other countries and stuff, and that took me by surprise. I think that's great, and I'm definitely going to try and get involved in the other international Pechakucha. I know that's how I pronounce it still, but yeah, I'm going to try and get involved in those too. Yeah, but thanks for like asking me to be involved as well. It's been really good, and every speaker I've seen for the first time as well, which is nice as well.
I've muted myself. Thank you, Steve. Joe, you're last of the speakers who are still here.
Yeah, I've moved to my sofa, but for the past few days, I feel like the most interaction I had was with the house plants that I had. So it was really nice to kind of like be able to interact with people and, just, talk about other things and listen to the other great initiatives. So thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. And this, like, I've been to so many Zoom meetings now, and this is one of the smoother ones. And nobody was using like weird backgrounds, which is great. So awesome.
Wow. There might be one person.
I mean, yours is fine. You're not in space. So many people are using space.
No, fair play. Brian, coming back to you.
That's all very great, useful feedback, everybody. Thanks so much. I just want to say that, reiterate that this event is not technically over. I mean, all of these presentations will, as we said at the beginning of this, will go online. And to Steve's point about making new friends, I think being in a couple of these sort of test runs and other similar kind of concepts, I think what we'll do is we'll take all of your presentations, and once we get them onto our website and shared in the right channels, so that we can add to this archive of social responsive projects, we'll also go ahead and link them in the various channels on the various platforms on Facebook and YouTube, and you'll be able to maybe connect with each other if you don't know each other in person and continue these conversations beyond tonight. So I wish you and encourage you all to do that, and I encourage everybody who's tuning in to get to bookmark everybody's pages and links and get to their home pages and support their projects. So thanks.
Yes, thank you. Right. The final thing before we leave, Brogan says she wants to do a photo. So I think if you unmute, guys.
I want to say one last thing at the end, but anyway, let's do the photo first. Group photo.
How do you want this?
Brian probably takes a group photo in Tokyo, but we'll try and do the, I don't want to be, how do we do that? Are you going to do a screenshot, Brogan?
Oh yeah, I'll do a screenshot at the same time. Okay,
ready?
We do normally look at man's eye. We normally do look at man's eye with our hands. Okay, 3, 2, 1, banzai!
Thanks, guys.
Oh, no, I just want to say thank you again to everybody. It's been really enlightening. It's amazing that the format works really well online as well as it does physically. And I think that the chance that we can connect with other cities and get other speakers to come on board like this it's been really seamless, and quite, although there's been a lot of issues, I know, but the potential here is enormous, I think. And I think with this pandemic, it is really city-based, yeah, in terms of where the hotspots are, things like that. And I think this, as we talked earlier, you know, cities are having to deal with this on their own. And I think that Pechakucha is a city-based organization. That there's something there and connects. But I just want to say that the presentations tonight were amazing. I think the wave of the different presentations, no speaker was the same, that every presentation style was different. Everybody was absolutely valid. And yeah, just an amazing night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything more to add to that. Just thank you to the speakers, the team, everyone who's still watching, who watched before. Yeah, tune in next week, I think.
Yeah, next week. So yeah, we'll be live. We watch out on our pages when we go live. Again, if you want to make a presentation and put it online, just go to pechakucha.com, go to the create button, upload 20 images, voice them and share them, hashtag them, inspire at Pechakucha Inspire. And it's free. Anybody can do it and make a presentation about what you're passionate about or what's happening in your area, and we'll be able to broadcast that out more. So thank you all again.
Good night, everyone. See you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Brogan. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Wow,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Happy birthday, Mark. Happy birthday.
Mom.
Happy birthday.
Bye, Craig. Mate, see you too.
See you later, mate.
No one staying around for the after party then, no?
Crazy Pedros.
Are you buying? Are you buying?
I'll get the round in if everyone wants to stay.
You always have mine.
I'll get the drinks in. I'll see you around